And we're live. Hey guys, welcome back to Me Watch Movie. I'm Mike.
I'm Jay.
And this is going to be a night to remember.
Time to get your willy wet. Let's just get right in there.
Tina, come get some ham. Hey, got a nice little group of people here. I see you guys been waiting for a little while. That's fucking awesome. Actually, there's a super chat waiting to go the whole time from Ludicrous78. Backseat, windows up. That's the way you like the super chat. And the thoughts on the Expendables movies and John Wick.
I think they're awesome.
Yeah, pretty much almost all the way around. Even the third Expendables movie kind of sucked, but it did have Mel Gibson as a bad guy, so that gets extra points because he was good.
I think, yeah, it's weird. One of those, I think we did something like what sequel outperformed the first one. Expendables 2 is actually better than the first one. It had Van Damme, who's an awesome bad guy in that.
Yeah, I agree.
The only problem was Steven Seagal, man tit ponytail, wouldn't show up to fight Van Damme, which would have been more epic than. I mean, it was still cool to see Stallone take on Van Damme, but it would have been, dude, it would have been like Batman versus Superman if Seagal and Van Damme had thrown down.
Yeah. And then as far as John Wick goes, I mean, they're all fucking good. There's only 3, right? They haven't come out.
Yeah, I haven't seen the third one.
It's good. Yeah, that's the one with Halle Berry. The third one's good. My ranking would go John Wick 3, John Wick 2. I actually like 3 better than 2, I think, a little bit. But yeah. And then Expendables, mine's the same as yours, 2, 1, 3.
Yep.
Faux show. Speaking of ranking shit. Hey, what up, Greg Harris? Ain't seen you in a minute, dude. Good to see you, man. Hey, thanks for the kind words, Charles Atkins. We appreciate that, man. And then, so before we get started, though, with the ranking, because this is what we're doing. Let me see if I can share my screen and give you guys an idea and make sure that everything's on the up and up here. Yeah, that should work just dandy. This is what we're going to do. We got all the Scream movies, all the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, all the Halloween movies, and all the Friday the 13th movies. And we're going to rank them all from number 37 to number 1 tonight. And you guys are going to get really angry at us. We know.
Here's a nice big piece of shit, is what people are going to say after the ranking's over.
Yeah, it's going to be a dark night. But before we do that, Jay saw Morbius. I did not. I said, you know what? I don't fucking care.
Yeah, I did. I watched it. I watched it on the high seas. No, I watched it. It was well, you know what they say about Jared Leto and vampire movies? They suck. No, to be honest with you, it's not nearly as bad as the critics were making it out to be. It's not like the greatest movie of all time, but I mean, when I watched it, it was the basic cable bullshit superhero movie. That's it. The main thing I took away from it, though, is that there was a guy that did an interview with the director of this movie, and you could tell, and I mean, he asked the question to the director. He's like, were there scenes missing from this? And the director was like, yeah, of course. I mean, they had to pull shit out because we all know about Michael Keaton have a bigger part in it. And they had to reduce his role. And there's an ending with him in it. It doesn't really even make much sense because of the Spider-Man No Way Home. They had to tie it together somehow. So they ended up sacrificing, I think, a lot of scenes that would have made way more sense if it had been in the movie. So that kind of sucked. Jared Leto himself as Morbius was pretty good. I didn't have a problem with him at all. I felt like he fit that role better than he did Joker for sure. He wasn't a crackhead running around 7-Eleven begging for change for a Slurpee like he was in the Suicide Squad. And this one, he actually, I bought into him, dude. He lost weight for the role. He looked like he was dedicated to it. I mean, he apparently he even used the crutches walking to the bathroom. He wanted to get so in character, and then he got a wheelchair because it was taking too fucking long for him to go take a dump, and film was wasting. Douchey. I know. Well, he lives out in the desert and he has a cult, so it's okay. That's just his personality. But the only, so I mean, it was just basic. I mean, it wasn't like anything bad. I still think if you look at Marvel movies overall, I think Thor: The Dark World is still the big stinky nugget in the room. It smells like pure elephant shit. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, as far as mediocrity goes, Captain America: The First Avenger takes that motherfucker all the way. Captain America: The First Avenger is fun, and I know people love Marvel and they lick that cock anytime they can. But Captain America: The First Avenger is mediocre at best. It really is. But Dark World is terrible. It's a terrible movie. Mm-hmm. This one is just, it's just a standard superhero flick. I don't know how. And again, the main confusing part with it, really at the end, the bonus ending with Michael Keaton, it's like you don't really get why that is unless you watch No Way Home. And even then, it's kind of like weird because they just show him in a jail cell. You see the flash that happens at the end of No Way Home when Doctor Strange puts all the shit back together. And then he just appears, Michael Keaton does, in a jail cell in the same reality as Venom and Morbius. And then you see him being taken away to like a police escort taking him somewhere. That's it. I mean, it doesn't even make sense. Yeah. So, I don't know. They tried some jokes in it. It didn't land, but otherwise, and there were some boring parts. I'm not gonna lie. There were parts where like just get fucking to it. But the special effects look good. And when there was the fight scenes that happened with Morbius, dude, I actually dug it. And he looked good. The makeup effects and the special effects on Morbius look great. The bad guy in it, Milo, that's not giving anything. I mean, they literally give that shit gets given away like fucking 25 minutes into the movie. Not very good. Not very good. And I knew it was going to happen too, because they didn't have anybody super to fight off of. They had to have somebody that was super to fight off of. And there was nobody, because otherwise it would just be Jared Leto walking around hiding the fact that he's a vampire, trying to come up with the next hit song for 30 Seconds to Mars. Just his everyday life. So they had to have somebody in there. But otherwise, if you guys get a chance, it's not bad. I would check it out. It's not the worst movie of all time. It's definitely not worth like a 17% or whatever the fuck it was on Rotten Tomatoes. And that's actually been shown, because it's proven false. Audience score, which I would trust way more over the critics, is like now got it like a 72, 71. So at best, it's an average movie. I'd say it's like a 7.5.
Oh, that's surprisingly high compared to what you've been hearing.
Well, it's not like the shittiest movie of all time. I mean, it's not bad. It's a 7. I mean, I would probably just give it a 7 overall.
You like Venom or this more?
Oh, I like Venom way better.
Yeah, that's that.
Yeah, the Morbius thing, it's got a good plot. I mean, it's got a cool storyline and a good setup, and it could be. I really think if they went rated R with this and made it a little bit darker and a little bit more not graphic, like let's see some titties, but just more like
now show
like
us them titties.
Like a true vampire movie, like a true graphic horror thing. I think it would be amazing, but they just it's Sony and they have a collaboration partnership with Marvel, so I guess they're not allowed to go they can't go full Sipple Jack on things. So
yeah, well, I mean, you told me that it wasn't that bad, and I was just like, it's very, very easy to watch it at the current moment, but there's nothing else in theaters, and I just can't. I'm just like, I know I'm going to be fucking bored, and I hate Tyrese, and I heard the cops.
He's not, but Tyrese is literally. I think that's another thing. Tyrese, that detective, he's a detective in this. The Tyrese has no character development. Like they almost like want to make him like a Gordon or something, and it just seems like he's lost in between sets looking for Vin Diesel so he can be in the next Fast and the Furious. They just grabbed him and say, hey, you're already in a suit. Can you be in this real quick?
Yeah.
And he has like a few. He's pointless in the movie. So is the other detective, though.
He's pointless in every movie he's in, as far as I'm concerned.
I like Tyrese in Annapolis.
Actually, that's true.
Franco.
Yeah, because he's like an asshole. So
but he played that part perfectly.
Yeah, Annapolis is an underrated boxing movie, by the way.
It's an amazing movie. Yeah.
Forget about it.
But yeah, overall, I mean, I don't know if I don't want to tell people to go out and spend money on it, but there is, like you said, there's nothing else to watch right now. So I mean, it's not. You're not going to walk away being like, God damn, what a waste of fucking money. It's not like that, but it won't be like something, you're going to write home to and, sing hymns in church about. It's not going to happen like that.
All right. Kevin Fishgal said, holy shit, I made a Wham live. Hey guys, what up, Kevin Fishgal? Good to see you, dude.
Hello. You made it. You made it. It might be your last live after this ranking.
Yeah, you might.
You'd be like, these guys are stupid as shit.
Well, we're done with this shit. You might wish you didn't come. Kevin Williams, thanks, dude. Really appreciate it. Sweet super chat, man. He says, hey, guys, had a lot going on recently. Had to take a break from pretty much everything. I'm glad to be back enjoying the shenanigans with you two. Also, better get those Multiverse of Madness tickets. Yeah, Courtney told me those things went on sale. By the way, Courtney says he got his shirt there. Good.
Oh,
They fucked Courtney on the DHL package, but he got it.
They did. Yeah, fuck those assholes. I'm glad you got yours. We get us. But no, well, that's the thing about what's it called? Multiverse of Madness. You said the tickets went on sale. But you remember when everybody was saying that No Way Home was going to be sold out and you couldn't watch it?
Yeah.
It never happened. I mean, I'm not saying that it's not possible for them to sell out. Yeah, in bigger cities, for sure. And especially IMAX theaters. But I never had a problem getting a ticket.
Yeah, I didn't either for that one, so I'm not too worried about it. But that is one I'm definitely going to see opening night. I didn't like the first Doctor Strange, Kevin, but I did. But I am very excited about this one because it's helmed by the great Sam Raimi, who's one of my favorite directors of all time. So I'm fucking in. And I'm glad to hear you're feeling better, Kevin.
Yeah, man. I love Doctor Strange 1. I always did like it. But Doctor Strange is also what I have. That's my nickname for my penis. So Dr. Strangelove.
Because
it's actually Dr. Strangelove. It's weird looking, but it does the job.
I named my dick How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb.
That's it. Yep, that's what it is. Love the bomb.
Mercurio 80, switching back to the old names. He says, I'm here and I brought Buffalo Wild Wings and beer. God, dude, did you hear? Fucking Doritos Flamin' Hot is merging with Buffalo Wild Wings, and they're gonna make Doritos Flamin' Hot fucking wings.
I don't keep up with you. Do you have like a fucking catalog of like you're like that one girl that they talk about in Next Friday's like they already know shit that's coming out on the street before it hit the street.
Well, there's websites you can follow, but I actually saw this in a commercial. It was like Thursday or whatever. It's like
Is it going to be at every location or just select
It
locations?
fucking better be, because I'm going this weekend and I'm gonna eat a whole mess of them motherfuckers.
So is it just Dorito like flavored wings?
I haven't seen a picture of it, but I'm imagining
Mm.
that's just the flaming hot, yeah, like the powder, maybe the sauce, but I would go powder on this one because they do have the powder sauce. It's not actually called powder; it's called rub. You
Cheese
know,
dust. Oh yeah.
dusty dust.
So you just
Butt
get a bunch of
dust.
Cheetos and crunch them up in the bags and then just pour the dust on top.
Yeah, I'll have the medium regular with the butt dust. Thank you. Blue cheese.
He's like, "Can I have the fattest fucking wings that you have available?" Ah, the Dorito infused wings sound good. And also bring a quart of ranch.
Yeah,
Or like
they
a
already.
bucket.
That's a funny thing, because on the diet that I'm on, you can eat all the fucking wings you want from B-dubs. Like, they're carb free if you get the
Yeah.
right sauce. So I'm gonna fucking go ham on some sons of bitches, man. But anyways, all right, let's get the fuck to it. Let's get inside of it. Dark Light said the Dorito taco is awful. It's soggy and soft, not crunchy. I didn't know they did a taco. That does sound kind of
Yeah,
gross.
the Doritos. He's doing the Locos
chips are good.
tacos.
The Locos tacos, yeah. Oh, I guess that's what you're talking about. Those
Yeah, I only had it once. It was all right. It wasn't anything like special.
I'll get them from time to time for sure. Sean West said, watch the first Doctor Strange on shrooms. You know what? Had I done that, dude, it probably would have been a way better fucking movie for sure.
Yeah, and you probably you'd still be in a padded room. That would fuck me up. Holy shit.
That and Inception, I probably would.
Yeah, I was gonna say Inception would be really crazy. And that other
Avatar.
Yeah, well, I liked Avatar, but Avatar. There was another one. What's that movie that we watched? It was some kind of weird fucking like it was that Nicolas Cage one. Where it was out in the woods and shit, and it was like bikers that were chasing. They took his girl, and it was like a
Mandy. That's a shroomer for sure.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah, he's fucking downing that bottle of vodka wearing the whitey tighties.
Yeah,
it's good times. Eric Olson, thanks, buddy. They call me Stamps. Thanks, dude. He said, "Did you hear that WB is hitting pause on future projects with Ezra Miller? How do you think this will affect the Flash?" I did see that. They called like an emergency meeting, and they all decided like, hey, this dude's a fucking asshole. This guy's going around hitting people, fucking being an asshole in bars. They put pause on all his projects.
You know what that is? That's all that mascara and makeup he wears is making his brain stupid. Like he can't even figure. He literally looks like a fucking anime character that's trapped inside of a human body. Like he wants to be in Cool World with Brad Pitt. Like he's a weird. He's weird as fuck. And then also, I liked him as Flash, but he can't stay out of trouble. He's a walking headache.
Yeah, I mean the makeup stuff. I mean he's what's the non-binary, so I get that part of it.
I don't know.
Like,
he's kooky as fuck to me.
But as far as like his actions and the shit he's doing, he sounds like a fucking asshole. But the thing is, they already filmed the Flash. They already filmed it. So like, what are you gonna do?
But all they got to do is they got to do a little quick rewrite. Ezra Miller's Flash gets killed. They bring in what's the West, Barry West, Alan West, or whatever, the nephew. There's replacement.
No, for the future, it's easy, but you can't do that for a movie you already filmed with him.
No, they're gonna release the movie, but they can replace him later.
Oh yeah, that'll be easy, and I think they will replace him. I think he's done no matter what happens after this movie.
Well, so I think it's WB's bullshit anyway. They want to get rid of anything related to Zack Snyder, which is bullshit, but they really do. That's just their way of cleaning it out.
It actually worked out for him. They probably had somebody leak it, like, all that shit.
Well, the guy went up on stage and like fucking grabbed the mic from a girl that was singing karaoke because I guess he thought it sucked. He's like, you don't even know how to sing fucking Heart. How dare you try?
Honestly, who hasn't wanted to do that at some point? But you don't do it.
We've heard many a time, but also we've been on people that should have been receiving into that because we did a terrible job at Bohemian Rhapsody. I'm surprised that we walked out there alive.
That's just not true. You're a liar. And
no, dude, the reason why you think that is
like to have that
people up on stage. Yeah, but we had people on stage that we were like a fucking Joker villain that had them as human shields.
We ruled fucking Bohemian Rhapsody.
Terrible.
Okay?
That was some of the
It was
worst
amazing.
thing.
I don't care how drunk I was. I remember it fondly, and don't you take that away from me, Ricky Bobby.
Awful.
But and that's the thing about Ezra Miller too. Like when that video came out of him like tackling some girl, it was so just almost non-threatening the way he was doing it. Like it looked like he was joking.
Play fighting.
And he just looked so stupid that it looked like they were playing. So I think when nothing came out about it, everybody just wrote it off. But now that this has happened, it's like, oh, that shit was fucking probably real, right? So now you're like, okay.
I don't get. I mean, he's not like a huge actor or anything like that, but he's acting like he's fucking Kanye West out there smacking people, grabbing their Grammys. I don't know. Will Smith also. I don't know. I was like, dude, you haven't really done much yet. Wait till you get Will Smith level, then you can smack people, and then maybe you can have enough money to have the fallout.
Yeah,
you can have a parachute. I don't know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
By the way, I don't approve that. I was joking. Nonetheless, because I mean, Will Smith actually, the inside source, I just read this, they say that he's almost in a panic because they're pausing that Bad Boys 4, and then they were doing something with him on Netflix. So he's pretty much like, oh shit, I'm gonna be completely canceled.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, you know what? And I want to be like, I just want to ask you a quick question. Were you the one that also was in the front line saying that Mel Gibson shouldn't have a chance at redemption?
Probably.
Now you eat shit too. You can eat shit.
Wyatt Atley, thanks, buddy. He says, "What's up, Wham fam? Watched American Psycho for the first time last week. Oh, that would have been. I wish I could.
Did you watch it with the family and your preacher? Because that's a great Christian film.
I showed it to Katie's little brother, and there was a couple parts that we were just sitting there together, and he's 18. We were just sitting there, and I was like, "You think I'm a fucking weirdo right now, don't you?"
I don't like watching that with anybody. I like to have that in my private moments.
It's probably the best way to see it.
Yeah,
but
it's like watching porn. I don't know.
He says, and now I need to make a better business card than Paul Allen. Excited for the stream, guys. We're excited at the fucking stream too. Wow, it's gonna be a great time, dude.
Yeah.
Vanessa says Mexican pizza will be back at Taco Bell on May 19th.
I heard about that.
Get your stomach and your asshole ready. I'm gonna fuck.
That was so dumb that they took it away to begin with. I don't know if it was a marketing strategy. Maybe it was to get more people get pumped about it. I don't know.
Yeah, they took it away just to bring it back as like you said, a marketing strategy. So I didn't know that. It's
kind of like the McRib, but I think the McRib tastes like fucking dirty ass rubber that's pulled through a gravel driveway somewhere.
Yeah. Now that everybody's doing their own weird cool foods, McDonald's is like the McRib, and everybody's like, "Fuck you, go fucking back and do your basic ass fast food."
The McRib is like someone if you serve them like rubber and it's like smothered in barbecue sauce, and you're like, I guess you didn't have any real meat.
they used to serve them bitches in school. Remember, like the rib patties on the sandwich.
Yeah, there's something weird about that. And I know it's a popular, people love it, but I mean, there's something weird when you taste the McRib. It just tastes fucking like chemically, like it tastes like it came from a Chernobyl burger factory.
Yeah, I don't like it at all. McRibs are fucking gross. I'd still eat one probably right now. Orlando G, thanks, buddy. He says, so that Netflix Ghostbusters series starring The Rock they announced on April 1st, real or was it a joke?
I didn't know anything about that.
Has got to be a joke. I haven't heard anything about it, so I'm imagining it's a fucking joke. And
yeah,
I love The Rock and I love Ghostbusters, but honestly,
The Rock could probably pull it off, but I don't know how The Rock. Like, I think the best casting choice they had, if it was rumors after the Paul Feig fiasco, was the Chris Pratt, Channing Tatum headlining it. I think they could have bounced. I think they could have worked around those two and then brought up, But as far as The Rock goes, I don't know. But I didn't know. The only thing I know about Ghostbuster related, I know that they're interested in doing more movies with it. But I saw that game that they're going to come out with was the only thing I saw.
Yeah,
it was a cool trailer, but.
I love The Rock as a person. I think he's a fascinating person. But to be honest with you, as an actor, the roles that they give him are just kind of like basic as fuck. You know what I mean? Like
he was the most amazing person I've ever seen in my life in the Fairy Princess Diaries, or whatever the fuck it was called, when he dressed up as he's a football player. What's that movie called? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. The Game Plan.
Yeah, it was an awful movie. I bought that shit too.
Got to be better than Vin Diesel's The Pacifier. Remember that shit? When
I never watched that because it looked dumb as shit.
It's the same movie though. Hey, whenever we get a big Batista did one too, like I Spy or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Every time we get a guy who's like really ripped, we gotta give him this same script, just mark the names out and change him, and he's gonna have to watch a kid.
Well, you know what I really thought? I thought that the game, what was it called? The Game Planner.
The Game Plan.
The Game Plan was going to be more like that. I liked that James Belushi Curly Sue. I thought it was going to be like Curly Sue, and it wasn't.
Yeah. Cop and a Half, a totally different story, but still, I don't know. I just wanted to say that.
Or The Nanny.
Mr. Mom.
I thought Hulk Hogan's The Nanny was fucking awesome.
His second best movie behind Suburban Commando.
I love that
for
movie.
Sure. No Holds Barred was fucking great too. Patricia Gregory, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Slash Boy Mansion says, love you guys and everything you do for us and the channel. Hope your week has been good so far. Had some rough patient cases at work myself, LOL. I've had a great week. It's been busy as fuck, but it feels good to have you guys with us tonight. Slash Boy.
I've had an all right kind of week. It's been always short, shriveled, and always to the left, but it's just one of those things that God intends. But it's been good overall. I have played a new dude. I meant to tell you about this. There's a game that you and Memphis could play. And dude, it's fucking fun. I've been playing with April. It's called the Batman Telltale series. You basically choose your own adventures. So you're Batman, dude. It's fucking badass. Like, and the game adapts and changes based on the decisions you make.
That's pretty dope.
And it looks like it's like a comic book style, like a hyper, I don't know, a graphic novel kind of looking thing in the video game, the art style. It's amazing.
I played the Walking Dead one, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
The Walking Dead was the best one. Then I also been playing The Wolf Among Us, which is great too.
Now, are those on Game Pass?
I don't know if the Batman is. I think Wolf Among Us might be on Game Pass. I don't know.
That's all I play now. I'm like, I ain't buying shit.
I buy them still. I'm like that greedy fucking troll that lives under the bridge. I just want them. I just want to own them. They're mine.
I get that.
But even though technically they're never yours because they're on digital. So
yeah, that's true too. Kevin Williams, thank you, dude. He said, "Okay, look, I worked at McDonald's years ago. Don't get the McRib." Hey, dude, you're not telling me anything.
Yeah, let me ask you a question, my sir. Are they actually serving meat, or is those cake urinals mixed with barbecue sauce? Because they taste the same.
Those are employees who didn't make the cut.
Those McRibs, man. Cake urinals, barbecue sauce.
Yeah. I can't go there. I can't go there, my friend. Thank you for the warning, though. I will heed it. I will continue to heed it. Mark Dorman, thanks, buddy. He says, I'll be in and out tonight since I'm packing for a camping trip at the Friday 7 location this weekend. Hey, we're going to talk about that.
That's badass.
Just wanted to give you some McRib money to get you by. I can't wait for the rankings. I feel like we're going to have to eat a McRib at some point on this channel. I'm starting to get that vibe. Like,
I'd rather not. Like that's happening. Like asking Superman to have a kryptonite burger. It just doesn't go well. By the way, Mark Dorman, are you going to the Friday the 13th, the New Blood camp, or are you going on a fishing trip with a young man that looks like Jake Gyllenhaal? Because I just want to know. I'm going on a fishing trip, honey. It's not, or a camping trip. That's also a fishing trip. We're gonna have a meat mountain together.
It's bonding.
We're talking about Arby's.
Yeah, dude. Mark's been tearing up those fights. He's been going left and right on all of it. He's fucking
going
crazy on these.
That's the new
things.
Part 7 is the New Blood, I think. That'd be a cool ass camp to go visit.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of which, let's get the fuck into this, dude. Let's say, hey guys, if you don't know, like, nice little crowd, 300 people in here. Give yourself.
Hey, all right.
Hey,
I love that
like
movie.
button. Just click the like button just real quick for us. That helps a lot. And we appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight. It's really cool.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, also, it would be awesome if you guys, at the end of the video when it's over, if you guys could go back and like drop a comment down, or something. Like, I don't care if you're talking about some bad shit, how much you love the McRib, how much the McRib is sucky. It helps too.
Yeah. Tomo says, I'm with Jay. Game Pass is a stupid good deal, and I play games I wouldn't have played. Motherfucker, Tomo, I said I liked it. That was me.
Mike said that, yeah.
I'm Mike. He's Jay. I'm Mike. He's Jay.
But it's okay, Tomo. It's fine. The sentiment is fine. I'm not going to get angry at you.
JD, thank you, dude. Appreciate that so much, dude. You're always so fucking sweet with the super chats. Tonight's no different. Hey, boys, so excited for this ranking. Picked up a bunch of horror collectibles from an auction today, followed by this. A good day. Have a great stream, guys. Dude, a horror auction would be so fucking fun to go to, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but I'd go broke.
Yeah, like that would be. I never like.
No, actually, I don't know if I do it because I always get embarrassed. I don't want to be like, oh, like, how do you do it? Like, how do you do it? Like, you don't want, you raise that. You raise that. I know you raise the thing, but you want to like be forceful. It's like Chattanooga or like Hatawatha.
Dude,
it's like that guy. All right, it's going for 150. It's like Chattanooga. It's like 165.
Tallahassee.
Yeah, whatever. Way down.
I'm afraid that I would fuck up and buy something that was like $2 million. So I was like, I thought it was $899. He's like, 899,000, son. Goddamn, ain't you ever been to a fucking auction before?
Yeah, they talk so fast. I was like, you were talking so fast. Yeah, I don't even know how that works. I don't know if you. I guess you get some deep shit if you can't pay for it. I don't know. I don't know what they do to you.
I don't know either.
Yeah, I don't want to. Let's just not get drunk and go to a horror auction because then it'd be like, oh, dude, I don't have that much in my bank account. I only got $50 in some fucking gift cards. What am I gonna do?
Yeah, especially if you're drunk, you really.
It's like if I got $50 and a game card or a gift card, is that enough? Is that a down payment? No, sir, it was $1,000. Oh, well, I guess I'm fucked.
I'll just have a sugar packet or two.
Yeah.
All right, dude. I'm gonna let you take the
bullet
introductory bullet. And just one more time, if you guys don't know, we are gonna rank every movie from Scream, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, and Halloween tonight in one big fucking bowl. And we're both very concerned that you all are gonna be very upset at our picks. So
yeah, let's reach our hand in the Jello bowl and see how squishy it is.
Let's just go, Sister Mary Margaret. Let's fucking go.
Okay, so my number 37 pick. And again, it was a hard decision between 37 and 36. Like, just, it's one of those questions that haunt you. Like, do girls really poop? And how does Donald Trump's hair stay on? It's just one of those things that haunt you. But I had to go with my gut, and I had to say, you know what? I have to do this. I have to. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is the worst horror movie out of all of them. And I know there's some love in the room for it, and I get it. I mean, we all like unicorns and Tyler Mane that looks like a giant hobo that likes to live on railroad tracks, and that's fine. I had to pick it simply because I think without the first 25 minutes of that movie, which is, by the way, some of the greatest Halloween Michael Myers shit ever. Okay. By the way, without that scene, this is not even a Halloween movie. It's not even Michael Myers anymore. And technically speaking, it's just, like I said, just some hobo that lives on the railroad tracks that misses his mom and imagines a unicorn that she rides. And his sister's all fucked up. So again, I'm basing it on this particular list of all these. That's why I have to put it there. And again, I know there's love in the room for Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, but just to me, it's one of the most atrocious slap in the face to a fan of any of the franchises that I could think of. And one of those I can barely stomach to watch it because I know what the title is, and it's fucking dog shit because of that, because of the misleading bullshit that Rob Zombie pulled with his fucking pubic crab hair that lives in his beard. But yeah, that's it.
Okay. I'm not going to say anything because this is why I wanted to. This is going to be fun. My worst movie at number 37 is Jason Goes to.
That's a lot higher.
I fucking loathe this goddamn movie, and I have opinions about Rob Zombie's Age 2. I hate it. Just, we both hate it, but. This fucking movie, dude, Jason Goes to Hell, is the stupidest goddamn. It's got the coolest title. It's got the coolest fucking ending where Freddy comes up, grabs the fucking thing, but it's not even a goddamn Jason movie. Like, I can handle the shitty fucking Jason movies. I can handle his mom doing it. But you got motherfuckers running around eating hearts, playing fucking Zelda swords and shit like that. And the fucking dagger of death. Like, all that fucking... Like, this is the biggest waste of a fucking movie and a cool movie title in the world. And I've never been able to sit through the whole thing without falling asleep or just wanting to just fucking stab myself with someone else's dick. So
the only good thing I do, that movie is dog shit. I love the poster for that movie. That poster looked dope as shit.
Like, the name's cool, the opening's cool, yeah,
and it was cool. The beginning of that movie, the end of that movie is some of the best Jason shit I've ever seen. The whole fucking SWAT team coming in to annihilate him at the beginning was badass. And then it was cool to know that Kane Hodder put on the Freddy glove at the end. The Freddy glove is what saved it. But other than that, yeah, I understand. Like, it doesn't seem like a Jason movie. You only see reflections of that bitch. It's like when he's walking around, he's like, Jason ain't never been no fucking morgue operator or whatever that one dude was that ate his heart. I was like,
yeah, it's like they took it, they tried to make it some fucking Wes Anderson film or some goddamn bullshit. Like, it's the worst of all of them to me. So yeah, that's mine. So all right, number 37 for you. 36, sorry.
So, yeah, this is again. So, I mean, the only other argument that I had with myself last night, other than why can't I keep it up for more than 10 seconds after I come, was the Halloween Resurrection is my next one on the list. This is where they completely emasculated Michael Myers. They made him like Chris Rock at the Oscars. He was embarrassed. He didn't know what to do, and they slapped him in the face. Busta Rhymes did it, not Will Smith, but you know what my sentiment. Like, to me, it's a joke of a movie. It literally is a cash grab. And the reason why it's like at least better than Rob Zombie's was because I have to give it at least it was trying to be a Michael Myers movie. Yes, of course, he looked like the lead singer from Sum 41 walking around. Yes, of course, Busta Rhymes was fucking slapping him in the face and because Michael Myers ain't no sound bite and like cringy ass lines that make your wiener swell and also recede really backward into your stomach. I feel like it was at least better than Rob Zombie's Halloween. But other than that, as far as what's wrong with it, I mean, the movie, you can watch the fucking movie. It's terrible. Everything they tried to include things like that was popular in the day with the, the camera stuff and the real world type of vibe, and it just falls flat. And then Michael Myers himself, again, the mask is atrocious. It looks like shit. And then he's literally made fun of. Like, he looks like the Michael Myers that we put in our skits. Like, he's slapped around. He's kind of like, I mean, there were some cool death scenes or whatever, but literally when you let Busta Rhymes go up to him, smack him in the face, like, get out of here before they see you. It's fucking stupid, dude. And then he does some kung fu bullshit. It was the end of an era. When I watched that, I was like, yep, they finally sealed the fate. They didn't give a shit.
They've sucked the dick of death.
That shit is dry as hell.
I just sucked death's dick. You want to know what it tastes like? Fried fucking
like sawdust.
I can't disagree with you there. Although mine is completely different. It is Freddy's Dead. Is my number 36. I fucking loathe this piece of shit,
that one too.
I hate it. Like, Like, I mean, maybe the fucking only good thing about this entire movie is like, what's the map say? The map says we're fucked.
That's a great line.
That's maybe the only good part about it. Fucking annoying characters. And look, you're billing this as the final chapter, the Jason final chapter, right? The Freddy's dead, the final one or whatever. This is supposed to be this big deal. And he has a daughter and she shoves a pipe bomb into his fucking shirt. A pipe bomb? This guy is a guy who has ruled the worlds of dreams and nightmares and control. He's like the most powerful of all the fucking serial killers, the slashers. He's got the coolest story of all of them, basically. He
survived a fire.
Yeah,
a really bad fire.
And you're gonna fucking put a goddamn homemade fucking pipe bomb and be like, I'm not your daughter. Ew!
No, she says, love you, daddy.
Like, yeah, like, oh, just
and he's like,
what a piss poor way for one of the greatest of all time to go out. And the movie that prefaced that moment sucked balls too. Well, I get that it's funny when Freddy's playing the video games, like or whatever. Like, but that should have been an episode of fucking Freddy's Nightmares. You know what I mean? Or is that what's called?
Freddy's Nightmares. Yeah. TV show.
That should have been that. It's one of the most disappointing of all these fucking movies. I hate that.
It's like
so
great graphics.
Rosie O'Donnell.
I will say one thing about Freddy's that again, that's one of those movies that have a great looking poster because that poster looks badass. I actually almost got that poster for my room because it looks so cool. Where you see the bus and then you see his hand coming out and he's from the clouds. It looks badass. And then you got the Goo Goo Dolls that are playing at the very beginning. It was a great fucking soundtrack too. But I get it.
No, both of those movies kind of have the same thing in common. Jason Goes to Hell and Freddy's Dead have the coolest names, some of the coolest marketing, coolest posters, and then they just took a shit right on your
last. It seems like of the whole thing.
Yeah, it's like someone else pooping on your butt. Like they took a shit right on your crack.
That sounds like something that fucking the guy that directed Human Centipede would direct.
Yeah.
It's like we're gonna make a movie about people that poop in other people's butts.
Hey man, I ain't falling for no banana, no tail bite. I'll be out here pooping on people's butt cracks.
Oh, that's all right. Are you R. Kelly? He pees on people.
A bizarre world.
You're R. Smelly. You're R. Smelly, not R. Kelly.
Oh shit. But yeah.
All right. 25. Damn, we jumped a bunch. We jumped 11.
I'm tired.
So okay, for my number 35, I'm gonna go with and again, I don't think it's going to be any, I'm not telling any tales outside of school. I'm going to go ahead and put Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake, as my number 35. I thought this movie was goddamn atrocious myself. I really thought that it was going to be one of those movies that was going to be a resurgence for the series. It definitely had been dead since Freddy's Dead. Well, yeah. I mean, they tried it with New Nightmare. I like New Nightmare, but at that point, the Freddy Krueger character had become a household name, a joke. People really didn't expect anything of it. So I really thought that when they brought Jackie R. Haley in, which I think is a fantastic actor, and I loved him in Watchmen, I thought he was great for the role. But what they wound up doing is they CGI and digitized his fucking face, which made him look like a dirty ass burnt weasel looking for trash somewhere in New York alley. I hated the way he looked.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, some of the dialogue and just some of the characters, I was just like, oh God, it was cringy as fuck. There were some great moments and there were some great scenes. Don't get me wrong, but there was just something. It's like the filmmakers didn't know how to actually approach the sensitive subject of what Freddy Krueger's a pedophile. Okay, might as well just not beat around the bush and just get to the facts that he's a disgusting human being. But it almost felt like sometimes the filmmakers didn't know how to approach it, so they tried to do a softball kind of approach where they made him like almost a victim, and they made the audience feel like sorry for him until they finally fully full circle and you're like, oh, he was a piece of shit, but it was too late then. I think you got to get the audience involved and you got to make Freddy Krueger a badass. Let him embrace the disgusting, nasty person that he is and just be Freddy Krueger. And also just do the practical effects, dude. I think some of the best practical effects on Freddy Krueger I've ever seen, period, point blank, period, was they did Jason versus Freddy when he was all demonic, when he was pissed off, when he comes out of the lake. That was amazing. And then Freddy 2, which I think he looks the best when he's like witch looking in Freddy 2. But yeah, at the end of the day, a Nightmare on Elm Street remake, man, it was something that the reason why it gets so pissed off is it just seems so commercial, and it just seems like such a quick buck that they were trying to make with the name, and it failed. It just ultimately failed.
Yeah, not at the box office, which is weird because like you would have thought we would have got a sequel, but I think they hated the product so bad that they were like, I don't care if we made money or not.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like I said, they had some cool shit in it, like the pharmacy scene where he's like flashing in and out. Reality was cool as shit, but they just didn't capitalize on what they had.
Yeah, yeah. There's stuff I like in that movie too. Like I'm with you though. All right. So this is where I feel like I'm gonna start to piss people off.
I've already probably pissed them off, but I'm gonna get worse.
Friday the 13th, A New Beginning is my next worst. At number 35. I rewatched this last night just to be sure.
A
I
New
wanted to double
Beginning.
check. Yeah.
Oh, the one with
Um,
Tommy.
yeah, I rewatched it just because I wanted to double check and be sure. And oh my god, it's worse than I fucking thought it was. Like, okay, first off, what's fucking awesome is Reggie the Reckless and Demon, right? Like they're fucking
Oh
great.
yeah.
Some of the characters are fucking great. You know, you scared of spiders? You scared of rubber spiders? You scared of rubber spiders on the strings? He's like,
Yeah.
I gotta get out of here. This action. I love that fucking
That
kid.
dude, the Tommy looked like Billy from Power Rangers.
He did. He looked like he was trying to be edgy Billy from Power Rangers.
Triceratops. I'll whoop
And
his ass.
I love Demon with the whole "ooh baby."
That was funny, yeah.
Ooh, baby.
Nonchalant.
Like who the fuck sings to their significant other while they're on the toilet? That's what I want to know.
I mean, there's some people that leave the door open and they talk to their significant others while they're pooping.
But multiple problems with this movie. Look, the fucking pacing is just ass. Like as much as I like the characters and like the Vic guy with the chocolate bar and Philip Rivers murdering with the axe, that shit was all great. And I like the camp counselor guy with the open shirt. But when it gets to Jason, which is what the movie's supposed to be, a fucking Jason movie, it's pure fucking ass. Jason, like a fucking bulldozer, like drives towards him, and he's basically Austin Powers in the Zamboni scene where he's like, "No!" Like Jason just stands there. He's like, "What should I do?" And then
he couldn't drive stick.
He moves so goddamn slowly.
Yeah.
He moves so slowly. It's just fucking at like a snail's pace. All the Jason stuff just sucks buttholes. And then you find out it's not even fucking Jason. Like this is just some fucking paramedic or whatever. So I fucking hate that movie. Yeah. So
yeah, I agree. No, I think I used to hate that movie too, like real bad, but I think I've grown I've grown respect for it. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I think it's just because I figured what they were doing, but yeah, it is a slap in the face of people when they realize it wasn't him, and they were trying to be cheeky about it too. And they put the blue mark on the mask. He's like, "Oh, people should have known." I was like, "Could you change the fucking color on the mask? I should have known. You were cheating, you son of a bitch."
Oh, and by the way, main thing is the deaths were the worst they've been since the original, where it's just like a hand, like.
I like that scene though when in the woods when he takes that belt and he keeps twisting. That was fucking gnarly.
That I take that part back. That was a great fucking kill, and those are great boobies. Two things that I will give this credit for. Yeah, that would be like the worst way to die, dude, because the belt snaps off.
Yeah, it like had it around her eyes, and so it kept crushing into what the.
Yes, indeed.
I bet that's what every porn actress felt like when they saw Ron Jeremy coming at them in the bed. Just they want their eyes to be crushed into their skull.
Exactly.
Okay, so my number 34, and again, this is, and it will be controversial just because I know that some people love the movie, which is fine. I mean, that's fine. You can love what you want. So again, this is just our opinion, so don't get all rabid on us.
Well, I'm already getting it. Orlando's like, boo this man.
So my next one's going to be Jason Takes Manhattan. I just think of talking about nonsensical bullshit movies and one of the worst, boringest ways to get to New York, you got to go with Jason Takes Manhattan. I when I watch this movie, I'm like, oh, dude, it's gonna be cool, man. He's gonna go to New York, and then you find out later he didn't even go to fucking New York. He went to Canada. Hey, I'm in fucking Canada, not New York, but they dressed it up.
Motherfucker took a lake to an ocean.
Yeah, there were some funny parts about this movie, and I thought were cool. And there were some moments that, like when he's standing in the middle of Times Square, of course that looks badass. Like I wanted to buy a Coca-Cola and watch that shit go down because even in the back you could see Coca-Cola on the big Times Square monitor. But it just didn't. There was something about it was boring. It took too long to get going, and then on top of that, when you get to the beginning, the way he's resurrected, it's just fucking stupid, dude. A goddamn yacht motorboat like somehow unearths his corpse, and he was like, "Oh shit, I need a beer." There's a fucking where's the cooler? And then he comes on board, and then somehow he gets dragged out to the fucking ocean towards Manhattan from Crystal Lake. I don't even know. Okay. You can suspend all that shit, but then it just takes forever to finally get going. And when you get to New York, what really, the behind the scenes stuff really pissed me off. The fact that this is the movie that basically fucked Kane Hodder over for Freddy versus Jason because he had something wrong with him in that alleyway scene. They let that one dude play Jason. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, you're going to get that part. Because Kane Hodder, they said that, Kane Hodder was like, yeah, they told me not to do that part. They wanted that guy to do it. So they fucked him over in that movie. It was the beginning of the end for Kane Hodder. But yeah, dude, it just is boring as shit. I'd rather watch Bob Ross paint a goddamn happy forest than watch that movie.
I'm in total agreement with you, dude. I am. It's not my number 34. My number 34, you've already talked about. It is. Jesus Christ, am I drunk? Have I been drinking? Did someone slip alcohol into this? I could get addicted. My number 34 is going to be Halloween. The first appearance of Halloween in here.
That's just disgusting when I see Resurrection pop up. I just feel like I'm not getting a boner for a year now.
The reason it's so high, the reason it's so much higher than yours is because at least I can watch it. So like I'll watch Resurrection sometimes to have a good time because there's certain things I do like about it. Very, 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 very tiny. There's a couple moments where the mask looks cool. Right, there's a couple moments where the mask is cool. It's mostly
that's like looking for like any good thing about COVID.
I know.
It's like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it gets people more aware about sicknesses in their health.
Yeah, but it's so dumb. It's so dumb that it can also be entertaining in its dumbness a little bit, not all the way. But then eventually you get to the point where Busta Rhymes comes out and basically makes Michael Myers look like a little bitch, and like that ruins the rest of the movie for you. Like when he comes there, he's like, "Get your fucking ass back there!" And Michael just turns around and walks away. I'm like, I'm done. I can't get into it anymore. And then eventually kicks his ass, as we all know. But for me, it's at least they again, it's better than New Beginning to me because at least it shows the kills. It has a couple good kill scenes in it. New Beginning, half of them are total bullshit. And then I already said about the other ones, but yeah, Resurrection's pure fucking trailer trash, dog shit. Duty farts.
Yep, it's where Courtney Love, has her family gatherings. Yeah, I agree. So my number 33 is going to be, and we've already talked about it since it was your 37, which Jason Goes to Hell. I think it's a shitty movie, and again, it's not like that far away from the last place ranking for you. Because of the fact that he does look badass at the very beginning, and that scene played out so fucking well, and it was cool as shit to see the SWAT team descending onto the forest, and then the girl, the hot chick in the shower, and she has nice boobies. She turns out to be an FBI agent, and then the whole thing is a setup, and Jason's like, "Huh, I've been bamboozled." Like, I just love the whole fucking thing. In the ending, obviously, when he actually comes back to life, and like it's like I don't know, it was cool, man. It was cool to see Jason in like just this fury. And then, of course, you get the Kane Hodder holding the Freddy glove that pulls the mask down, which gave it massive points. That leads into Freddy versus Jason. But yeah, I liked it for those reasons, which is why I can enjoy it just for those reasons. But other than that, the heart eating shit, them walking around from morgue to place and bullshit, that was all garbage. So that's why it's still pretty low.
You ever heard of people doing lemon drop shots? That movie is a doo-doo drop shot.
Yeah, it is.
A doo-doo drop.
Yeah, but it's like, I'll do a doo-doo drop shot because I ain't got the money for anything more special or fancy.
Dude, I swear to God, next time we go out, I'm gonna order a doo-doo drop shot. And they're like, "What's that?" I'm like,
I swear to God, if they come back with a little glass, it's gonna have a little turd floating at the top. I'm like, you said doo-doo drop. You didn't know what you wanted.
Hey, quick side story. You know what happened tonight? What? Fucking Ellie, my youngest daughter, she's 6. Dude, she pooped in Katie's shoe.
I don't know whether to be mad at you or impressed.
She shit in her fucking shoe.
It's like Ron Burgundy's. I don't know if I should be mad at you or impressed. You made a whole wheel of cheese.
At first, I thought she did it like to be an asshole, and I was dying laughing. But apparently, she just missed the toilet, and the shoe was just next to the toilet.
Hey,
and like it landed in it. But who the fuck shits in a shoe?
Because that's a good save. I mean, she didn't shit on the floor.
Yeah, she probably did that shit on purpose, but she just played it off like she was pissed because like.
Dude, that's a great joke. Yeah. I have to think about. Maybe I'll take a dump in your fucking sandal.
Hey, we peed in each other's shoes before. I don't know if you guys know that. We peed in each other's
shoe, but we never took a dump in it.
Yeah, back when we were kids and we used to swim together, there was a shed where everybody would go and change, and we'd change, show our little dinghies around and change into our swimming trunks in the shed. But then we go to the pool. But every once in a while, one of us would sneak back to the shed and take a big old piss, and everybody else.
Who led that charge? It was Cody, dude.
It was like Cody.
Let's pee in Mike's shoe because you weren't wearing socks, and when you came over to swim, he's like, "Oh, he's just gonna think his feet are wet from the pool."
Yeah,
and then you didn't know you were staying at pee.
Well, I thought my feet were wet anyway, so I was like, "Hey, this is kind of nice." And y'all were fucking dying. I'm like, "What?" They're like, "Dude,
you're
fucking
preventing you from having an athlete's foot." I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure it was good for me in the long run, but. Anyways, yeah, pee poo poo aside, my number 33 is gonna be. I have to look it up here on all the old listicles. Oh God, I'm gonna continue to catch shit.
That's all right. Just go with your feelings. Oh my God, dude, I'm gonna give you shit on that. I love that movie.
Yeah, it's Jason X.
You didn't like? Well, I didn't. I didn't think it's good, but I mean, I don't think it's that bad. Holy shit, that's higher than I thought.
I know. I watch it and I'm like, there's parts that are entertaining, but to me, it's just like it's a fucking Leprechaun movie. Like it's just so shit. Like it's funny at times. Like I laugh at it at times. The cryogenic kill was pretty fucking cool, right? I'll give it to that. Cool, yeah. But it's just so goddamn like kind of just corny to me. Like we're trying so hard to be just wild, and it's Jason Inspan. Like it gets on my nerves. I don't like it. I
get it. I think they were trying to on purpose be corny though. I think they were like you know what? Let's just fucking have a good time with it.
Because at this point, I just don't think it's as funny or kitschy as they think it is. I'm like, I get what you're doing. It's just not impressive to me.
I just thought it was funny. One of the part I always remember with that movie is that girl, that android, that her nipple kept falling off because he couldn't get the stick. I'm like,
there's
that's
some
always
funny
a problem.
Stuff in it. Yeah, it's like a bad episode of South Park to me, though. I don't know. Yeah,
no, I get it. My number 32 is going to be, and again, we've talked about this one. This is Mike's 36. It's Freddy's Dead. I have it at least at 32. I don't enjoy it that much either. Maybe I enjoy it a little bit more than Mike. The reason why, though, is they embrace the MTV side of him, and I get it. It was meant to be a joke on purpose, because at that point when Freddy 6 came out, they'd already kind of fucked everything up with Freddy 5. Freddy was becoming like, he was a music video. Like he was a popular cultural icon at this point. He was like fucking Ronald Reagan or some bullshit in the 80s. They were like, yeah, fuck it. We'll just throw him in, have some Super Nintendo references or Nintendo references and have fun with it or whatever. But I mean, as far as people that were going and want to see a real serious Freddy Krueger thing, I think that shit had passed a long time ago. So I feel like they were like, hey, we'll just go out on a bang and just, embrace all the stupid ideas that people think about Freddy anyway. And I mean, I get it. I get it. Like watching it for that reason alone, just for the pure, because there is a lot of mentions of like what was popular. Like they had the Super Nintendo, and there's a lot of sayings and shit that were popular in the early 90s. It has a great soundtrack, and that's cool and everything. And then for some reason, Roseanne and Tom Arnold show up, and they're not drunk or fucking. So that's weird. But they show up, and so it's got some cool cameos. But I can at least watch it. And at least they're trying to go out with some kind of comedic. It's like an SNL skit, like their last shebang in the sun. And they're just like, fuck it. We'll just embrace whatever people, people are already like putting us in like again. I mean, at that point, like what Freddy Krueger had been in, like he'd been in rap albums. He'd been in like a fucking Hellraiser video. Motorhead, I think, did a video or something. I don't know. No, that was something else. But anyway, yeah. But it still sucks. I mean, it's still a shitty movie.
I agree with you. Like, it's just. It's like, hey, you guys want to see a dead body?
Yeah. It's like your parents putting on a haunted house. It's like, you should come over to my haunted house. It's the best ever. You're like, okay, well, I'll go.
It's like, damn, that Fred Krueger is a shell of what he used to be.
It's like, that's what fucking heroin does to folk.
All right, so I'm going to say this one, and then I really got to pee bad. But I figure what we'll do this time, since we're doing the list, when I go pee, you just continue. Like, keep going until I get back. And then when you're gone, I'll continue down my list, and then we'll match them up.
We're gonna go all the way down.
But it'll be like one or two by the time I get back. And
I can't change the thing on the screen.
So. I know. Just tell me when I'll tell you when I get back, and then I'll change it. You tell me, and I'll change it.
All right. So just gonna keep going down the list.
My name's MCF. Yeah, I mean, take your time with it though. Take your time. Don't rush or anything. Don't go like 10 down while
I'm just gonna get to number 5, and you're gonna be like, "What the fuck happened?"
That way we don't shop the buku. What the fuck did I just say? I don't know what I just said, but what I meant to say was my number 32 is going to be. Oh, this one hasn't come up yet. I'm surprised.
332. Jesus, we're not going that long.
I
can't do it. I can't do it.
A Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Just kidding. 5. Nightmare on Elm Street 5. The Dream Master.
I thought it was going to be the remake. The fact that you have 5 so high up on that remake's not up there yet, but.
I get to that, but you know what? There's actually stuff in this to like. Like I love 4, and we'll talk about that. I watched 4 again last night as well, and I love that movie. But like 5 just Freddy. Like why are you gonna fuck with the origin story like that? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like to a little baby and fucking have him run around doing shit, and like it was so fucking dumb. I'm like, I can't even. You guys really jump. 5 is where they jumped the fucking shark.
Yeah.
3 got a little weird. 4, the ending. it was great until the ending, and then it got kind of dumb. And 5, we were like, "Fuck this, we're idiots, and we're just gonna take a giant dump all over this franchise."
Yep.
I did not like 5, but I like the first half of it ish. But yeah.
Well, my number 31 is gonna be Nightmare 5. I swear to God, that's my number 31.
Nice.
Nightmare 5. Yeah, the Dream Child is definitely, you're right. It jumped the shark. It was when they were like, you know what? How do we destroy Freddy Krueger? How do we just say fuck it? And the one that wrote it, or she directed it, she was pregnant at the time. She was like, I was just trying to infuse my real life thing into it. I was like, bitch, keep your pregnancy and your hormones away from Freddy Krueger because it don't need it. It don't need it. And that was the main takeaway for me, is like, when I found that out, I'm like, oh, now it all makes sense. I'm not saying it's a woman's fault or a pregnant woman's fault or whatever it is, but the fact of the matter is, when she said that, or when that interview came out and then she was talking about that, I'm like, somebody needed to let her go home and have some, Gray Earl tea or something, because that chick does not need to be writing Freddy Krueger. Yeah, Freddy 5, man, it just was not. God, it's so stinky in here because I'm talking about it. Because you go from Nightmare 3 to 4, and that's pretty. I love Nightmare 3. Dream Warriors is ooh-wee. Nightmare 4, you know what? I kind of dug it. It's not good. It's not good by any stretch of the imagination, but what was going to be coming after Nightmare 3, which was a masterpiece in a lot of people's eyes. But the Nightmare 5 was just like, fuck it. I'm going to trade my wife up for like a hot Russian Tinder girl or something. I don't know. It just said it took away everything that made the franchise special, in my opinion. So that's what my opinion is on it. And again, I'm trying to think of any. There's one redeeming factor that I really did like about Nightmare 5. I thought that the death scene, and I can't remember his name, but the dude that became part of the motorcycle, that is to me one of the coolest deaths in any horror movie ever. Like when he gets all Transformer to Ghost Rider with his motorcycle. I'm like, holy shit, that's got to be a Suzuki, because that shit is fucking crazy. But whatever, the bike, I don't know what the manufacturer of the bike was, but that was a gnarly scene. That was a really cool scene. But everything else about it, that was like, when the little kid's got like acne on his face, he's trying to be like a little Freddy Krueger. He's like, hey, she's no fun, Freddy. I want to be friends with you. I'm like, oh God, the cringe is so fucking bad. This is like watching, Michael Jackson kiss his wife. What's her name? What was Michael Jackson's wife's name, or his wife? Lisa Marie Presley at the Grammys or Oscars or whatever. It was that cringy. It was like, yeah, this isn't real. Or like Bill Clinton actually looking at Hillary Clinton like she gives a shit. So anyway, that's my number 31. I'll tell Mike when I come back. So my number 30 is going to be Scream 3 is my number 30. I don't like Scream 3 at all. I think the Scream 3, and the same reasons why I've described Halloween Resurrection, Freddy's Dead, and Jason Takes Manhattan. It's a very much, for me, it was a parody type of movie. I thought Scream 3 was terrible. It felt like more of a Jay and Silent Bob go to Hollywood with Scream involved. I felt like they were out of ideas. I felt like Scream 3 was piss poor in writing. It was piss poor in acting in a lot of ways. I feel like a lot of the actors that came back were just, there for the money, there for the paycheck. They didn't give a shit about really making a good Scream. It just felt a very Eddie Murphy's Haunted Mansion or something. I don't know. It was a goofy. It was like, when's fucking Scooby-Doo going to come up and solve the mystery kind of stuff. It felt very cartoony. It felt very corporate. It felt very off-putting and Batman and Robin-ish, I guess you could say. Just hated it. Did not like it. Never have liked it. Never will like it. I just think it is a piece of skid mark on the underwear of society. So it's just a no for me, dog. That's a no for me. And Randy Jackson has spoken on that. So that's my number 30. My number 29 will be Friday the 13th, A New Beginning. So it's higher than Mike's by quite a bit here. Not by much, but it is higher. I still enjoyed it because, again, I give it props for having a pretty cool death scene in, they had some really good death scenes in that particular film. But one of the, the part where in the RV, he smushes the guy's face into the side of the RV, into like aluminum side of the RV, and you could see his face come out like T-1000. It was fucking badass. That was some cool shit. He also looked amazing. Jason looked ghoul. Like, I mean, ghoul. He was a ghoul, but he looked cool too, and he was a ghoul, but he looked badass. And it was corny and cheesy and cheeky, but the way that Tommy brings him back with the lightning coming out, very much like a Frankenstein story. You see the lightning come down that resurrects Jason. I thought that was cool, but yeah, overall it was pretty forgettable as far as the plot go. But let's be honest here, Friday the 13th, they have mostly forgettable plots, so I'm not really worried about that. But I mean, it was really kind of forgettable. And I'd never, I know that people love that dude, the guy that plays Tommy in this. I'm not like against him at all. I think he's a pretty, he seems like a very nice guy, and he seems like he's very willing to give time to fans and such. But I just never really got behind him as the whole heroic thing in his blue jean jacket. I don't know. I just never got behind him as that kind of guy. But he's better than, I guess, the Tommy and wait a minute, I'm wrong. Wait a minute. No, hold on. Okay, I was talking about a totally different movie. Friday the 13th, The New Beginning is never mind. I was thinking of Jason Lives, I think. So wait, I'm to recap, and I'm going to fix what I said. So go to 30, I put Scream 3.
Okay.
And then at 29, I put A New Beginning.
Okay.
And that was, I was getting it confused with Tommy, the Tommy from
Jason
not
Lives.
Jason Lives. Yeah, I was getting that whole storyline confused. So I didn't mean that one. I was talking shit on Jason Lives, which I have a lot to say about, but A New Beginning. Okay, let me say, it's not a good movie, but I grew to respect it, and I wound up having the Roy Burns thing. While it's obviously not Jason, I feel like they were trying to do something different with it, which I do respect, but it was also kind of a bullshit move for them to mislead people into thinking that it was actually going to be Jason Voorhees. And the Tommy in that, the Billy from Power Rangers, he actually wasn't that bad. I mean, he was bad, but he wasn't like as terrible as they could have gone. But and I, and actually it goes for Jason Lives when I said that I never got behind his whole hero. Neither one of those guys, by the way, the guy in the blue jean jacket, that's Tommy and Jason Lives, and this guy, neither one of these guys scream like fucking hero to me. He's not John Cena Peacemaker, okay? None of those guys are.
Who is?
But yeah, I got A New Beginning up there because, again, over the years I've come to respect it, and I do feel like it's one of those movies that they tried something different, maybe it didn't work, but it's kind of like, it's also like Halloween 3. I used to fucking loathe Halloween 3. I used to loathe it. I used to think it was the shittiest thing they could have done, and it was dumb as hell. It was a dumb marketing move, and it was just a stupid movie. But over the years, as I watched it, I grew to respect it more. So that's why A New Beginning is higher on my list than Mike's. But that's it. And now,
yeah,
I have to go pee-pee.
Okay, I'll catch up with you. I'll grab a couple super chats here too. They call me Stamp said I heard WB is getting set going to set the Snyderverse to the side instead of erasing it. I'm curious how it'll work given the recent events. Anthony, I hope that they do that. I hope that they just set it to the side instead of erasing it. What I fucking hate is the Grace Randolphs and people out here ruining the fucking movie for people. Like, oh, I'm a scooper, so I'm just going to fucking say everything in this movie that you're going to pay tickets to and want to be surprised about, whether you hate it or love it. You're out here just straight up spoiling shit like months before, and I hate that whole thing. So I hope none of it's fucking true, just to put them in their place, like to make them look stupid for spoiling these movies for everybody. There's a way to scoop movies and a way not to. Tyler Rumfeld said, did you know the movie Casino, both Dick Warlock and George Wilbur are Robert De Niro's security guards? Two Michael's protect. Dude, I did not fucking know that, Tyler. That's fucking crazy, man. That's wild. I got some things to say about George P. Willard and them as we go too. Joe Bob said, love and miss you guys. $10 for Dorito money. Thanks, dude. We will need it. It's got to go to those fucking B-dubs wings, though, for sure. Have you tried the McDonald's Szechuan sauce? I never got to try that. That's one of the wildest like marketing schemes ever, what they do with the Szechuan sauce. I wish I could have tried it. I'm a sauce dude. That's why this no carb diet's fucking murdering my life. It's because I love sauces. I'm the sauce boss, as that Epic Mealtime used to say. But no, I never got to try it, man. But thank you guys. Appreciate that. All right. So I think we're caught up on those. I just want to double check and make sure. And we'll get right back into the list here. Gary, thank you, said, I still haven't forgiven Halloween Resurrection for teasing young me with Katie Sackhoff, but never delivering it. That movie was a cock tease for sure on multiple levels, dude. Multiple levels, that movie cock tease. Those two people were about to fuck in Michael's basement around all the bones. That was a cock tease too. Yeah, that movie was, the whole movie just as, hey, it's a Halloween movie. No, it's fucking not. Shut up. It's the epitome of what a cock tease would be. All right, my number 31, not number one. Jesus, is going to be. Look at my list here. 31 for me. We talked about it a little bit, but for me, it's going to be Jason Takes Manhattan. Now, for me, you're going to see a lot of movies at the bottom of my list, and you're going to see a lot of Friday the 13th movies towards the top of my list. I think it's a top-heavy fucking franchise. They have some dog shit movies in that. Jason Takes Manhattan's one of those movies that is just such a disappointing fucking thing. Like, if you take that one scene where he's walking in Times Square and he kicks the boombox, and like you make that the movie, or when he's killing the crackheads because they're trying to rape that girl, that in itself as a microcosm would be just an amazing movie. But instead, like we said, he takes a fucking lake to a goddamn ocean. It's this whole thing we're on the boat for fucking 90% of the goddamn movie. And then he's teleporting. And then the end, are you fucking kidding me with that stupid ass cockamamie butthole shit ending where the fucking tunnels get flooded and he's a little boy again? Like, what the fuck are you even doing? How did you get your license to make movies? They should start giving licenses, because that was ass patass. That was shit fuck. Jason Takes Manhattan, one of the coolest ideas, had some of the coolest scenes when he knocks that dude's head off. Like, that's some of the coolest Jason shit ever. Him walking down Times Square, some of the coolest Jason shit ever. And then it's like you took a fucking gold nugget and you packed it with shit. Like, it's a gold nugget inside of shit. Just tiny little pieces of gold in it. But you got to eat through a bunch of hobo shit to get to it. Fucking hate that movie for all of its disappointments. If you're gonna do stupid shit, just throw the fucking Ninja Turtles in there. Like, give us Jason versus the Ninja Turtles in fucking New York. That would have been fucking cool. You couldn't have fucked that up any worse than you did Jason Takes Manhattan. And then number 30 for me is going to be one that's already on Jay's list as well. It is A Nightmare on Elm Street remake. Now, it's higher on my list than Jay's for the reason that it's a watchable movie. Like, I think there's certain things in that movie that are cool. And I've said this a million times if I've said it once. The number one thing that you have to get right to make these movies good is the slasher. If you get Jason right, if you get Freddy right, if you get Michael right, everything else can be kind of fucked up. You can have a Sartain, you can have whatever. But if you get that character right and they do a good job making them look cool, making them kill cool, all that shit like that, then you've got a watchable slasher movie. The number one sin the Nightmare on Elm Street remake commits, directed by the guy, Samuel Bayer, who directed fucking the Stay Together for the Kids Blink-182 music video. The sin it commits is that Freddy doesn't fucking work. And it's not Jackie Earle Haley's fault. He had some good lines. He sounded good. That gives us 7 more minutes to play. Like, I like that shit. But when he looks like a burnt CGI squirrel, the movie is not going to work as a fucking whole. And it wasn't a great movie to begin with. So some cool stuff. I like Kyle Gallner in it. I like the micro naps, like Jay said earlier. I like some of the kills in it. Freddy's really scary a couple times in that movie. He's underratedly scary a couple times in that movie, which is why it's higher on my list. But overall, it's a shit film. So, and then just to catch up with you, dude, my number 29 will be way all right, it's way higher. It's way higher than you fucking had it. All right.
All right.
Let me take a drink before this shit.
Yeah, just go ahead and chug that bitch down. Hope it's laced.
It's Mountain Dew, so it definitely is. It's got that yellow popcorn.
What's in that Mountain Dew?
There's Coke.
Does it rhyme with Romka?
Vodka.
Romka.
Rob Zombie's H2 is going to be my number 29. Now the reason,
damn, dude, I can't believe you have it.
I know. Like, I know. I'm looking at this from the lens of, look, and to give you guys, just to be honest with you, I watched this movie in the theater and I walked out going,
I still laugh about that every time because I can just see your face. Because Cody told me, he's like, dude, that was fucking badass.
Yeah, I was. I'm not shitting you guys. I was so fucking thrown into left goddamn field by this movie that the first time I watched it, I walked out of the theater and no shit was like, that was either the best movie or the worst movie I've ever seen. I'm going to go with that was the best fucking movie I've ever seen. And then I made Katie go with me to the drive-in the next night to see it. And within 12 minutes, I was like, this is fucking dog shit. What was I thinking?
Did you have that reflective moment? Like you felt like Bruce Wayne's like, I don't make a lot of mistakes, but in this one, I did.
Yeah, dude.
I don't know why he's British, but he was. But
and look, the reason it's higher is because he did some good shit in there. The opening the way that Michael Myers was so violent and whatever, and then you turn it into a goddamn dream sequence, right?
Yeah, dude.
And then you take Scout Taylor Compton, who was great in the first movie, and you're gonna tell me that this chick, all right, just went through someone trying to slaughter her and had all the trauma, as Jamie Lee Curtis likes to say that, and she's gonna turn into a girl who's like, I'm in love with Charles Manson. I've got a picture of him on my bed. Who the fuck survives a serial killer and then falls in love with Charles Manson? Rob Zombie just doesn't have the foresight to be like, everybody has to love Charles Manson because it's fucking cool, dude, because he murdered people and shit. But he didn't actually fucking murder.
And he's a surfer in California that hangs out with David Hasselhoff, apparently. But no, you know what you do? I agree. No, because the main thing about that movie, if they had just stuck with it, the first 30 minutes at the hospital was so badass, dude. Like, he looked good. He was fucking violent. He was vicious. He was exactly like the Michael Myers that you thought you were going to be getting when you went and seen that movie.
Yeah.
And then it just fucking derailed into a goddamn fever dream of mushrooms and, goddamn marijuana tips. You're like, what's going on? And then, and dude, it sucks too, because Brad Dourif was so amazing in that movie.
And again, that's why it's so high on my list for this movie, is because it had so many high points. Like, some of the visuals were fucking dope as shit, man. Some of the Michael Myers stuff, when he had the mask actually on, was dope as shit. They did really good stuff in that movie, and there's some artsy, really, really cool shit. And I love the party at the end with I want to say hillbilly, but the rockabilly band and shit like that. And Daniel Harris was great. Brad Dourif was great. There was really good shit in that movie. But the reason it's such a piece of shit is because he took the cornerstones of the movie and he fucked them. He made I think he made a good movie, but he took the cornerstones of Halloween and just shit all over them and then botched it at the end horribly. So
it's like that one kid that graduates college and he's a good looking guy. He's like, man, I have high hopes for you. He's going to do something really well. And then he turns out to be Jared Leto in Suicide Squad. You're like, what the fuck happened?
Exactly.
Like, what happened to you?
Exactly.
It's like, nobody messes with the queen. You want beef?
I'm with you, Mark. This terror train. That was fucking awesome. But yeah. All right. So now I'm all caught up.
All right. So my number 28 is going to be, let's hear it in the back for this piece of shit, but it's okay. It's higher than the others. It's Scream 4 coming in hot and sexy. I just don't like this one at all. I never did. I thought, again, I go back to, I mentioned earlier, a very corporate type of feel to it. This one is also one of those. I never liked any of the killers. It's one of those movies that's so forgettable to me. I don't remember that. I remember enough of it to know that I didn't like it. And I can never go back and watch Scream 4 because I just think it's so fucking bad. I can watch Scream 1 and Scream 2 and even the new Scream. And I'm like, that all makes sense. That all feels like it ties together. Scream 4 did its best to tie together, but Scream 3 was bad. Scream 4 was a little bit better because they kind of tightened it up a little bit and tried to make it less of a joke that they did with Scream 3. But at the same time, Scream 4 to me just feels like a total hot dog shit in the summer day. I feel like I feel like everybody.
It's ironic doing that summer lighting they had on the whole movie.
I feel like everybody. Well, I feel like they were trying their best to repeat the first one with the new cast, and they had to bring the old cast in again, and they had to do the same fucking tropes. They had to do the same bullshit over and over again. I just never liked it. I felt like I was like the guy from what was his name? Malcolm McDowell in that one movie where he has to have his eyes fucking opened up like this to watch it. What was that movie called? Where he's like in the top hat, Clockwork Orange.
Yeah.
And he was like, had his eyes like, I'm like, fuck. Because, and again, I'm not like, I don't hate on Scream. I know everybody thinks I hate Scream. I don't. I just think that Scream should have ended at part 2, but that's just my opinion. But nonetheless, I just feel like Scream 4 was, again, I guess the way I can surmise, like I can wrap it up real quick is it's a cash grab. It's a simple cash grab. They have a lot of like good looking chicks in it that were like pretty well known and some actors that were pretty well. I don't know. It just felt like very dumb to me. The whole movie just felt dumb.
Okay. What's about? Are we on 28 now? What the fuck did I just type?
We're at 8. At 28.
We're at 8. We're almost done, dude.
I wish we could just get there. Let's just save everything else.
My number 28. Oh god damn it. I hate to every time I see one, I'm like, God, here we go. This is another one that's gonna piss people off. Freddy vs. Jason.
It's not that well. I mean, it's not. Yeah, it's. I get
like,
it though.
When you look at this movie and you look at all the scripts that they had and all the things it could have been, like, no one ever really came up with a great idea. Like, no one ever had a good reason for them to fight, and like, no one ever had a good script for it. It was almost like something that just shouldn't be. You know what I mean? But they forced it, and it had to happen. And I get that it's fun because it's like, it's wild because like, oh my god, Freddy versus Jason, that alone is enough to be cool. And it had cool moments. The fight at the end was pretty great.
Awesome.
But it should have been like, those YouTube videos that make like fights, they like have Deadpool versus Batman and shit like that.
Yeah.
Like to me, that was the movie. And then they added all this dumb shit with these horrible fucking actors and these lines, and it was just boring and it was terrible. There were some good deaths in it though, like the Jason with the bed when it goes up like this, and there were some fun moments to be had in it. But ultimately, it's just a movie that I almost never go back and rewatch just for fun, just because it's like a rock music video. It's more like it's like a really expensive fan film to me than it is like an actual movie. I don't know.
Well, I think I think that's the nail on the head. It is a rock music video. I feel like it's one of those movies that it was going to be a challenge for anybody to come up with a working idea that was going to have any kind of effect, like that was going to be good. I mean, at the end of the day, I think they just settled for, they said, fuck it. They had the whole weigh-in thing, and they're like, we'll just make this a joke, and we'll make it like, it very much was like a concert to go watch the movie, because there's no way that in any type or stretch of the imagination that Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees would meet. Like,
and they copped out on the ending too. They didn't even actually do it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like with Freddy.
Well, I did. There were some funny parts in the movie. It was like, I got this bitch. Like, I mean, there were some funny parts, but yeah, there was also some really stupid parts. The big fat giant sluggy worm thing. I was like, yeah, I've seen that shit before in high school, and they're trying to sell me drugs.
I think there's a way to make that a good movie, and I just don't think they tried. I think they said horror fans will deal with it because we'll just make it fun in a rock video. I feel
like Freddy vs. Jason was a product of its time. It came out in that time frame when you had 13 Ghosts. You had like this more of a rock and roll approach to horror movies, and they were just like, we'll just go with it. Because at that point, you look at Jason and you look at Freddy, neither one of them have been doing anything like phenomenal in their last movies. So they weren't they hadn't really got back to the scary part yet. So, I don't know.
Just the Freddy vs. Jason stuff's cool, but as a movie, it sucks.
All right. So my number 27, and this is going to definitely get people's panties not wet, but just wet with anger, maybe. Not wet with desire. But it's going to be Halloween 3.
Oh, you like to play fire?
Again, but it's not the worst movie. It's not like, but I gotta put down, and again, it's one of those movies that I gained respect for as I got older and I watched, and I got what they were going for. But it was definitely like a very, to me, it felt a very cheesy, on purpose, corny type of Adam West dark black comedy type of movie. But the reason why I take away from it is the fact that they did mislead audiences, because when Halloween 2 ended, everybody was like stoked when Halloween 3 was announced, and even though I know it, people aren't always smart, and it said Season of the Witch, like, that's weird. I never knew that Michael Myers killed a witch, but okay, I'm in for it. And then you're like, oh shit, Michael's not even in it. And then you have this whole explanation by John Carpenter and team about like, oh, they wanted to make this a series of stories. And you're like, that's fucking stupid, dude. Okay, let Creepshow do its thing and you do your thing. You've got Michael Myers. That's your thing. Don't go back and act like you want to create an anthology series. And I get why it seems like a cool idea. Of course, it seems like a cool idea because John Carpenter said it and he smokes Marlboro Reds. But at the same time, not everything that John Carpenter says or does is always going to be golden, golden child. And I don't feel like this is that, but I do appreciate it for its on purpose. And I feel like it was on purpose, cheesiness and corniness. And it added to the, I guess, what do you call it? I feel like the movie had character. Maybe that's what I'm saying. It had
originality,
personality. Yeah. It had something different that I wasn't expecting. And I don't think you appreciate that until you get older, especially what they were trying to do with it. Just much like Adam West in the Batman the TV series. Like, of course, it's not what we know as Batman, but back in the day, that on purpose camp was fun and it was different and it had personality. It set itself apart. So I feel like that's why Halloween 3 is higher on my list, but I still ultimately think it's not a good movie just because it misleads audiences.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. I won't give anything away, but I'm with you on that one. I understand exactly what you mean. Grabbing a couple super chats here before we go on. The Masked Met, thank you, says you guys are in with Nathan Basil from Leslie Vernon. What's the fucking
The Mask of Leslie Vernon?
The Mask.
He said
the Mask. Yeah,
the last Mask of Leslie Vernon. That would be a great.
Behind the Mask. The rise of Leslie Vernon.
His next movie should be called The Last Mask of Leslie Vernon. That'd be a great sequel title.
He said you guys could easily crowdfund enough to produce Leslie Vernon 2. You guys should do it. I'm not 100% sure Nathan Basil loved us. I think we had a good time talking to him. He was a nice guy. But I'd be honest with you, man. If we were ever going to crowdfund something, that would probably be it. That would be fun as fuck. You imagine if we could bring back Leslie Vernon?
I would love to see it. I thought he was great.
Shit.
Yeah, but I definitely feel like he was not one of those guys that when we talked to him, and we had a good time, and I had a good time talking to him, but it definitely felt like your uncle that doesn't really like you. That was talking to you. I feel like that's what Nathan was. I feel like he's a great guy. No, he was a very nice guy, of course. But it definitely feels like, if you have a very successful uncle that comes around and you're kind of the fuck up kids of his brother, and you guys are like asking him questions like, hey, what's been going on? What's it like living out in California? And he's like, oh God, you gotta deal with these fucking piece of shits. Your dad didn't even really love you growing up. I'm like, what?
Just pass the mashed potatoes.
Yeah, that's about all I can. He's like, those look like good mashed potatoes. What's going on over there?
But he was nice to us. He put up with us. He was nice. And he gave us a great story about tripping balls.
But yeah, if we could do a crowdfunding for a sequel, I would love to do it.
That would be awesome. Orlando says, just wanted to say, Mike Stumacher is dead. Well, if you believe that, let me drop a TV on your face and see it. We'll see if you survive or not, Orlando.
Yeah, I agree with him. He's dead, dude. He's dead.
No,
get over it. Go to therapy. Write in the journal.
I know you and Orlando blow each other on
Orlando
outside of the freeway next to Target, but I'm telling you, Stu Macher's coming back.
There's no way, dude. If he comes back, it's gonna erase the credibility.
Believe it. Derek B says, I can't forgive how bad Jason is in Freddy vs. Jason. That's true too. They should have went with Kane Hodder, dude. Would have at least made it fucking better. Right?
And the guy, that was another reason Jason Takes Manhattan. It was the guy in that scene in the alleyway that dunks the guy into the toxic ooze looking thing in the trash can in that alleyway. That's the guy they fucking picked. And they, it really is just it's a crying shame, dude. Like they double butter fucked Kane Hodder.
No doubt about it, dude. For real. Andrew Graziosa says, hey guys, random question. If you could pick one director who still hasn't done a Halloween film to make a new remake reboot, who do you choose? David fucking Fincher. I mean, who the fuck else, right? How badass would that fucking be?
That would be a good one, but I feel like it would try to be like Donnie Darko. He'd be like, it'd be like Michael Myers as a young boy talking to the mask in the theater, like Donnie Darko was talking to the mask. You're like, why are you wearing a suit? I'm not wearing a suit.
That feels more like David Gordon Green.
Yeah, actually, I would love to see. Honest to God, there's two directors I think would be amazing. I think Sam Raimi could knock it out of the park, and I think that I just want to see it because it's so fucking wild and weird. Quentin Tarantino, because he was the one that was up for the Halloween 6 thing.
That'd be wild, dude. That would be fucking awesome. I would be now we might say that and then we watch it and he would just do some weird ass shit and we'd be like, oh, stop fucking with Michael.
Well, you know what I mean? He did something that, if all of a sudden in the middle of a dramatic scene, Michael Myers takes his mask off, he's like, actually, what people don't understand about me is the reason why I kill is because I'm trying to kill the evil inside of me, but the world too. Like, and you're like, oh shit, this got fucking weird.
Yeah, Michael would have Quentin Tarantino's personality, but let me tell you something. Let me tell you, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? What are you fucking? I don't give a fuck about Jamie Lee Curtis.
It'd be funny if you had also when Michael Myers showed up, instead of the Halloween thing, you had the Pulp Fiction thing. Ha ha ha!
Yeah. Oh fuck. The crowd has some good ones though. Ken said Lee Whannell. Lee Whannell would probably. I'd be in to see what he could do with it.
The guy that did
Oliver Stone,
James Wan. I think he could do it pretty good.
James Wan. Tom Ungurian said Radio Silence or David Bruckner. I go with both of those for sure.
Yeah.
Gary, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Says, did you hear that the original idea for Scream Session 3 before the reboot was that it was going to say Session 1 and 2 was not real. They are actors. And it was going, I think it autocorrected them. Scream 1 and 2 was not real. They are actors. And it was going to cross over with the films, and the killer was after the actors. I didn't really hear that. I just heard the whole thing that Stu was behind bars, and then he was running the whole thing. And then at the end of the movie, which is another thing, everybody says Stu's dead. Look, Kevin Williamson, the writer, was going to have him be a part of Scream 3. So the writer says he lived. So
but I think there's a point where there's a problem. You get too meta to be meta. And then I was like, all right, man, your ship has sailed. Okay, it's time to get on the train now. The ship has already crossed the Atlantic. It's like, okay, well, Wes Craven was in the movie of Scream 3, but he wasn't the director of Scream. Yeah. He was just writing Stab. But did he write Scream? I feel like you get caught in that M. Night Shyamalan kind of bubble, and you're like, well, how the fuck do I get out of it? Here's a simple way: just don't be meta to be meta. Like, let the story write itself. I feel like that's what these writers, it's like they're trying so hard to be extra meta, to be a little extra gum, that they forget the story. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a way to do it for sure. All right, let's get back into this bitch. You gave your number 27 was Halloween 3. My number 27 is going to be Fuck Me, Fuck My Thoughts, Mate. Tell me you love me.
That's a good movie.
Mine's going to be another Halloween film, but it's going to be Halloween 1978.
No,
John
you're
Carpenter's
You're lying, you asshole. Shut the fuck up. Dude, I swear to God, if you did that, I was like, you just nuked the whole fucking channel, because everyone will call into question everything you've done and we've done together as a team. I would just disappear. I would turn my camera off and I would text you right then and be like, in the stream. Like, end it now. Now, if you felt 1978 was your 27, I'd be like, do you have a good goddamn explanation for being late?
You better go. Hey,
I'm like a doting wife. Why are you late?
Save yourself, dude. Go. Get out of here.
Shit.
No, it's Halloween 5. Halloween 5 for me is number 27. But here's the thing, like, I struggle putting it that low because, look, it even though the character, not Pleasance, but the character sort of jumped the shark a little bit, like, right it. You know, that whole thing, cookie woman, what?
Yeah, well, yeah, Loomis was on a verge of a stroke the entire movie. Like, even when I do that version of Loomis, it's like he's literally on the verge of a stroke. He sounds like Red Fox from fucking moving. Not that, I don't remember that. Sanford and Son.
Yeah, but there's great shit, man. Like Loomis, I thought his performance, if over the top, was awesome to watch. It was a joy to see. Daniel Harris as the little kid actor just nailed the shit out of that role. I fucking hated Tim. She's like, you know, I know that, like, you're this little girl that I'm supposed to take care of, and like, you know, there's this crazy fucking, like, probably supernatural serial killer, but when you beat a boy and your heart just turns to neon, I just have to go on a date. Bye. I hope you don't die. Like, I fucking hate that. And like,
Tina's bad.
Tina's awful, but you got some great scenes in that movie, dude. You really do. Donald Pleasance alone, and then the ending scene when they're in the house together, it's Michael one-on-one with Loomis, and he's beating the fuck out of him with
I got a goddamn shell, Michael. What you have? What you have, Michael? You're drugged up, Michael. I knew I'd take advantage of you, Michael.
He has the fucking heart attack on top of Michael, and they die in this heap together. That was fucking awesome.
Saying, God, is that enough, director? Can you call cut?
Yeah.
It's like, I need some fucking Twizzlers.
It had some amazing shit in it. It really fucking did. But overall, Michael with his fucking untucked mask the entire goddamn time. That fucking French director, Long John Befuckshawn, that didn't know what the fuck he was doing.
It needs to be Long John Befuckshawn. That'd be a great porn name.
He had no idea. He had no business on a fucking Halloween set goddamn ever. He's like, I bring Man in Black, and he walk off bus, and then you fucking figure it out. I don't care.
That's how you acted. Yeah, it's like, I come to America. Americans are stupid. I know how to make film.
Yeah, fuck you. Go to McDonald's, have asshole.
And then, have you seen Halloween's? Like, what is this?
Yeah, John Bond for fucking con, and then like he at the end of the movie he's like, I bring Man in Black and Tommy gun, he shoot everyone. And by the way, what fucking jail in the world, much less America, lets a fucking serial killer go in the fucking holding cell wearing his goddamn mask? Michael's sitting there going, well, Sim Salabin, fucking. Anybody got some Uno cards? I'm fucking trying to pass the time. Dude walks in with a Tommy gun and busts him out. The stupidest fucking ending of all goddamn time. And then it really fucked the franchise's future. It really fucking did. Yeah. So yeah,
no, I agree.
Anyway,
I agree. It was a bad movie. Now this is where I get my pants taken down and spanked. Okay, because I feel like you have been taking unfair advantage, and people have been saying, "I will spank your butthole." Now they spank my butthole. Now some fun for me. Who wants a mustache ride? I do. I do. So my number 26. You fucking sycophants. And I know you guys are going to hate this, but that's okay. I'm just going based on I just want to point this out. These are our opinions. It's not yours. It's our opinions. It's going to be a little bit of, what's the actual name? Halloween H2O is my number 26.
Okay.
And it's no secret if you guys have been on the channel for a while, why I don't like this movie. I feel like, again, when I talk about corporate movie, when I talk about clean, when it does feel like Hollywood got its grips into a franchise, it definitely comes across in this movie. And yes, I know that people love this movie for, and I get it. You enjoy it. But the mask itself, the mask debacle, the
Mhm.
fact that he looked like an alien several fucking times and they changed it, they were gonna digitize his fucking mask at some point, and it was gonna. He literally looked like an alien that was gonna butt probe you, not fucking kill you. Like, and then the whole dude, it felt so much like a Scream movie because Scream was popular during the time, and they were trying to copy and paste everything that was really going on with Scream to put it into a movie, and it just felt there's something about Halloween, specifically the Halloween movies of the late 80s and early 90s that felt raw. It felt like very like just guttural, in the way that like Michael was portrayed. In this one, he just looked like, I don't know, fucking Farmer Fred put on a mask. He's kind of thin, and he goes to an elite school in the mountainside and wants to kill people. I don't know. It never to me connected. And when I watch it, it just feels like it's the cleanest. It's like going to a car wash with Michael's mask out and getting that shit all cleaned off and be like, yeah, this, like, I guess it got warped a little bit. The mask might have got warped by the soap suds.
I like
still a mask.
By the way, I like Mark's comment. Mark Wren said, I saw H2O opening night 1998 drunk as a skunk.
I should have, yeah. Well, I you know what? After watching it, I got drunk as a skunk too, because I was like, what did they do? Because and again, you know what? Curse of Michael Myers, I know that is not everyone's cup of tea, and I understand. But to me, it's heads and tails well above what H2O did with what they had, because when they leave it off with Curse of Michael Myers, the thing about Curse of Michael Myers, yes, it's confusing as fuck because you got the producer's cut, then you have the regular theatrical cut, but at least what they had right was the spirit of Michael Myers. They had right that this violent, vengeful, rageful type of man that was stalking and terrorizing the people of Haddonfield. And then they move this motherfucker out to the posh hills of I don't know, fucking Hogwarts Academy. And fucking Josh Hartnett's like, I'm going to Yosemite. And yes, I like Josh Hartnett, but he needs to comb his hair. And there were some good things about it, but at the end of the day, I felt like it was way too clean. I felt it was too Hollywoodized. I just never got. It was very brittle. I don't know how to explain it. I felt like it was a good Halloween movie, but it wasn't like a Halloween movie.
Yeah, no, I understand where you're coming
Best
from.
I can
Sure.
say. It was like, the title was correct. It was very watered down.
Oh fuck, that's good. That's a good one.
Yeah.
My number 26 is gonna be Halloween 3. Now you mentioned it a little bit. I'm just behind the curve a little bit with you on those. Now, I like Halloween 3 just the same as you do. I think it's a very original story, and I think Tom Atkins fucking ruled in that movie.
Yeah.
He carried that movie the same way he carried parts of John Carpenter's The Fog, when he's like,
that's all it is. Yeah, yeah. And Night of the Comet.
Yeah, and it started out with this creepy idea of these dudes in suits just walking by and like dumping fucking gasoline on their faces and lighting themselves up and like crazy shit.
They work for Elon Musk.
Yeah, it's a great nostalgic movie. It was like, it's getting late, I could use a drink. Like, it's one of the most like openly but also not spoken about alcoholics to ever grace the screen.
You have to drink when you watch that movie.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And like the worst husband of all time. Like, I'll call you Monday, Linda. Like, I'm gonna go have sex. Yeah. And like, by the way, please, if I die in a horrendous way and these robotic people kill me, please, nobody let Tom Atkins around my wife. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm gonna honor you, or my daughters. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But Halloween 3, it is original and it's got some cool stuff in it. It had no business being titled Halloween ever in a million fucking years. An anthology idea for Halloween is stupid. I'm sorry. I know people like it, but like you said with the Creep Show, you can name anything. You can take an anthology and name it anything. Why the fuck would you take the name of Halloween and turn it into an anthology? Like,
I know. Well, that's stupid, I feel like it was like John Carpenter was butthurt that's what he would, that's all people knew it for, was Michael Myers.
Yeah, he wanted. I get. He wanted to tell original stories, and he thought,
then
maybe
just go work for Creep Show.
But it's a cheap way to say, I want to take the success of Halloween, but I also want to do my own original thing. Like, you can't have both, dude. You either got to go the indie route with it, which I know Halloween's like the ultimate indie movie, but you know what I mean. You either go to your own. You can go your own way, or you stick with what you're doing. So
I agree.
But I do love the movie.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
So my number 25 is going to be, and we've talked about it a little bit, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because we gotta get to what we need to talk about.
We gotta start speeding up.
Yeah. Freddy versus Jason. And the reason why it's on my list is, yes, Jason looked like, he didn't look. I think Jason looked good. I think that the actor that played him looked like, he was shit. But I liked the camp part of it, and I feel like they did the best they could with it. with what they had. So and to be honest with you, it's a shitty movie. It's a shitty movie, but I enjoyed watching it. It was like watching the two titans of my childhood go face to face. I mean, that was cool to see. And that's why it's so high on my list, just because it's cool to pop that film in now and again and be like, man, it's really cool. I live in a world where literally Freddy Krueger fucking fought Jason Voorhees in an actual big budget movie.
Yeah.
I feel like that's fun. And for that reason alone, for just fun value, for popcorn value, I put it high on the list.
Man, I covered you like Mel Gibson and Danny Glover on that one by putting mine just 3 spots earlier. I was taking all the fucking heat. I was in the woods like, ah. Because you were just a couple
and
down.
Then I watched you getting eaten by the bees, and I'm like, let him die. Let him die.
Let them fight.
Well, no, but I don't. Again, I know that people love that movie, and I get it, and I know why, and because it's a nostalgic kind of throwback, and people always connect to that. But I watched that movie, honest to God, I watched that movie for shits and giggles. Like, you cannot watch that movie and tell me it's being serious. Like, Freddy died by fire, Jason by water. How can we use that?
That's so bad, dude.
Why her tits are popped out with her nipples, and yeah, she was extremely. I mean, why do you think they did that? But and then they had John Ritter's son in it. But it's meant to be like, I think it's meant to be on the nose on purpose.
Yeah,
and for that reason, I take it for what it is.
Yeah, and Sean O'Brien, I love you, dude. He says, of course, Mike, no Scream movies yet. Not anymore, says I. Number 25 for me is going to be Scream 3. Now, the reason this is so not lower on my list is because, I used to fucking loathe this movie. I used to fucking hate it. I used to despise it. But going back through leading up to Scream 5 coming out, I watched it probably twice in that span. And I actually appreciate it in a way I've never appreciated Scream 3 before. Like, it's stupid. It goes way too fucking zany. They go to Hollywood and they do all this dumb shit. But I realized something. Like, I had kind of an epiphany. I'm like, this is kind of like the ultra meta. It's these actors playing the actors. We're involving Stab with Scream in a way it's never done before. And the mainstays were still fucking awesome. David Arquette was fucking great. Courtney Cox, even though the fucking bangs, Nev Campbell, you had you had a pretty cool fucking motive going on with Roman and all the stuff that was going on there. But to be honest, that third act,
Roman Reigns,
acknowledge me. But that's it. Acknowledge me, Debbie Loomis.
Tell me who you love.
But still the worst Scream movie and still not a great movie, but there's some really lovable Dewey stuff. There's some really if you really love that main cast, there's still some really lovable stuff. The opening is actually really good, I think, with Cotton Weary and the way that that
was great. No, but then they waste the character.
Yeah, and the way they blew up that thing, and like he could change the voices in this one with the Cotton Weary opening and stuff like that. So there's a lot more to appreciate about Scream 3 than I ever realized before. It's still not a great movie,
dude. I know, I agree, dude. That's the main. Liv Schreiber is such an amazing actor, and as Cotton Weary, he was awesome. Like, I feel like he was more engaging than a lot of the other cast that was in the movie, and then they just got rid of him in the beginning. I'm like, you guys are fucking stupid.
Yeah, and Lance Henriksen had a cool role in that too.
Yeah. But I don't know. Yeah, I get it. No, I get it.
What are you going to do, Jim?
I don't know. I guess I'm just going to have to write Hollywood and say I'm disappointed.
You do better next time or you get butt fucked.
Okay. Mustache rides for not you. 24 is going to be, we talked about it. It was on Mike's list higher than mine, but Halloween 5 is my 24 staple now. The main thing is, we pretty much covered why. I mean, Mike did a good job of saying why it sucks. I mean, there's not much I think the reason why I have it so high on my list, I can watch it just for Donald Pleasance. I think that Donald Pleasance is he's the reason why you watch the movie anyway. To be honest with you, Halloween 4 or 5 is Donald Pleasance movies. Like Halloween 4 is still great. I mean, it really is amazing. But Halloween 5 is one of those movies that you watch because Donald Pleasance goes full fucking, like, again, I don't want to use this again, but he goes full Simple Jack. He doesn't give one fuck about that little girl. He doesn't give one fuck about people thinking that he's trying to, that he's hurting a little girl. He's like, I want to kill Michael. And I'll slap a little girl in the face.
Right, or I'll break it off.
Fuck you. Get me Michael. But it is so stupid. If you imagine the way that it begins, Halloween 4, Michael got shot so hard and blown up by grenades so bad that his mask changed in the water. Because they never, and I know there's scenes missing from Halloween 5. I understand that there's a producer's cut. We'll never probably, I know all that shit, but like the way they explained it, he just shows up with fucking Farmer Fred's mask. Like, and for no reason whatsoever, and he was apparently in a coma. So I guess the only logical conclusion that someone could be watching that film for the first time is like, hey, that old fucking bumfuck from the swamp went and did his duties and went to the CVS and bought him a new mask.
His mask looked like Napoleon Dynamite's cousin. He was like,
yeah, that motherfucker looked like the worst used car salesman ever. But yeah, it was just a terrible movie with terrible actors and terrible cast, but except for Donald Pleasance, of course. And then the guy that played Michael wasn't bad. It was just the movie itself was so poorly written.
Yeah.
And what did it come out like a year after the first one? And then that fucking French frou-frou motherfucker came in and said, I'd like to eat croissants. And just said, fuck it. He's like, you have to watch the movie before this one to know what's going on. Not me. Ha ha ha. I sell on the ocean blue. He's like, are you familiar with Halloween franchise? Like, of course I am. I love jack-o'-lanterns.
I like Jojo bits. I like to eat candy in my porch.
Oh shit. My number 24. I'm gonna say this one, and then I'll go take a quick pee again, and let you keep going down your list, and we'll match up again. My number 4. I'm keeping with Scream, dude. I'm going Scream 4 at number 24. Look, Scream 4 is barely above Scream 3 to me. It's barely above Scream 3 to me, and that's because like I watch it and I realize some things. First off, that's that fucking who the goddamn shithole let that cinematography happen with that constant sun just blazing down on everybody like the Black Hole Sun Soundgarden music video.
Sucks.
The sun sucks. But and the Jill, I hated fucking Jill. I hated that whole character. Like, I'm mad because Marcia, Sydney. Yeah. Everybody loves that motive, it seems like, and I hate it because she's like, I'm just jealous of Sydney because she gets all this attention. It's my time to shine.
Felt like Big Brother, the European edition.
Yeah. That being said, I did love Gail and Dewey finally being together. They woke up in bed together. It's like, man, they've been going through all that shit. It's the one little moment you get to see where they actually get to be happy and be together. I like that a lot. I like the whole Judy thing. I like certain parts of that movie. The brutality of it, like there's some really good kills in that movie. You know what I mean? There's the one dude gets stabbed straight up in the head. The girl gets gutted. That was one of the best kills of the Halloween franchise. When she's watching from the room to the room, and it's like, I didn't say I was in her closet or whatever. And like the guts, they should have left the deleted scenes in there. But ultimately, Scream 4, the ending sucked. Like, they go to that hospital scene, and like, how are you in this hospital and you're shooting guns and you're hitting people with bedpans, and no one, not a single security guard, nothing's gonna come in there? It had the worst opening of the franchise, by the way. With like, you went too meta, like with the whole thing. Like,
it's always a danger.
Yeah, and then at the end, the last scene, the girl from Friday Lights gets it, and it's like, it was just a weak ass, I'm gonna stab you, kill, and then it had a bad opening, bad ending, but some really good stuff in the middle. Barely beats out Scream 3 for me, but yeah, that's my number 24.
Yeah, it's so on the nose that it was Scream 3, then Scream 4. You fucking sell out.
Yeah.
I've actually had a few of those like that though, where it's like Friday the 13th, and then Friday the 13th, they're like, what are you doing?
It's like a twiga. I'll be right back. You can keep going through your list. Okay. I'll catch up.
So my number 23.
Oh yeah, by the way, sorry. Shout out, Kirby was fucking awesome, and I really liked her in that movie.
You can go die in a fire. Go die in a fire. No, I mean, I know that people do like Kirby. I don't know why, but okay. It's just like people. It's like, yeah, I don't mind that little guy. That's no. My number 23 is going to be Scream 5, the most recent addition to the Scream franchise. I think it's pretty good. I don't think there was anything ultimately wrong with it. I do feel like it was. That's what I feel about it. It was a soft fart. It wasn't the worst fart I've ever had in my life, but it wasn't ultimately, I didn't shit my pants when I watched it. It's all right. Scream 5 was all right. At least they tried to go back to the basics of what Scream was about, and they did a pretty good job of doing that. I feel like they told a decently compelling story, and they didn't try to go virtue signaling, which I was fucking scared of, by the way. I'm just gonna point this out there, okay? I'm gonna have my pants open. I'm glad they did not go virtue signaling, because in today's world, I thought it was going to be for the Twitter mob, or it was going to be very, woke McWokes, and it wasn't. They did their job. They did, they stuck to the script, and they did a good job with that. Overall, though, I still think the Skeet Ulrich ghost part, him being in it, I understand why it's a fan appeal, and it definitely puts more asses in the seat when the word of mouth gets out. It's like, oh, Skeet Ulrich's in it, and he still looks hot. Jesus Christ, he can suck corn syrup on my tits. I get it, but at the same time, like, those characters are dead. You can't really do much with that anymore. It's time to move on. And there was, and they do kind of move on from the old cast. There is a moment. And again, I'm not going to spoil it for people that haven't seen it. I know it's been out for a while, of course. I'm not, but I don't want to spoil it for people that haven't seen it, that it's in the chat. There is a titular character that is offed in the movie. And, it was sad. It was actually pretty sad. I didn't, my fiance teared up a little bit more than I, but I was just like, it's about time, soldier. It's about time. That's how I was. I was like, you've been at it for a while now. I get it. It's time to move on. But it was they handled it really well. But overall, it's just, I think that I still feel like Scream has not caught the needed creativity to come back in an established way yet. But Scream 5 is definitely the step in the right direction. So those are my thoughts on number 23. Number 22 for me is going to be Jason X. Mike's had it way lower on his list. Actually, almost like, what was it? 11 slots lower. But there's something about Jason X I just love. Jason Goes to Hell was so, you only had Jason from the beginning and at the very end. In Jason X, they said, fuck it. We'll have a fun time here. We're going to have a good time, and no one's going to stop us. Twisted Sister, hit the music. And they go full throttle from the beginning of the movie. And actually, the very beginning of the movie, and the reasoning behind Jason X, they have him in a military underground research facility, and Jason's being experimented on by the government to try to figure out the regenerative properties of his skin. I was like, that all makes fucking sense. If the government caught Jason, that's exactly what they would be doing. I thought all that was cool. And then when they go to outer space, or, after, what happens in the film, the cryogenic freezing and stuff like that, they just go ham. And I'm like, dude, I'm here for it. And because at this point, because Jason Goes to Hell they were really trying to be serious, I think, in Jason Goes to Hell, and it just failed completely and miserably. They were just, let's have fun. Let's go back to what the basics are. It's Jason fucking Voorhees. Let's have him have some cool kills. He's an unstoppable machine. And let's throw that girl out with the missing nipples that's an android at the same time. Okay, let's have fun with it. And I was there for it. I thought it was a really fun movie. And actually, I have a lot of nostalgia for it, because it was one of the first few movies I bought on DVD when I got a DVD player. I got that. I got Jason X, and I got Rockstar. And I think there was something else I can't remember, but I enjoyed that movie a lot. I think that Jason X is very unique, very different. And then you get Uber Jason, which I think is badass. That's what happens. Uber Jason looks like what Elon Musk and Bill Gates would be if they melded together. They would just be this monstrous, crazy looking cybernetic organism. But I just thought he looked cool, man. I don't know. And overall, I just think the movie was fun. I just think it was fun. It was like having sex with a girl with herpes. And of course, it's nasty, and you shouldn't do that. But you did it anyway, and you didn't use a condom. And now there's sores appearing on your mouth. But then they ask, was the sex good? Like, worth it. Worth it. And yeah, of course, you got to have Valtrex now for the rest of your life. But guess what? You had some of the best sex of your life. I feel like that's what Jason X is. It's a danger to people, but at the same time, it's fun. That's my Jason X story.
Hi.
Hey, so I'm gonna go P2. So my number 23 was Scream 5, which I've talked about, and then my number 22 was Jason X.
Okay.
Which I'm just going to sum it up, and that's what I was telling the beautiful ladies and gentlemen out there in the crowds tonight. I was saying what Jason X for me is having sex with a beautiful girl with herpes, basically, knowing that you're going to get herpes at the end, but it was worth the sex.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Megan Fox, butt naked in your bed, and she has a sore in her mouth, and you think you're going to get herpes if you do it unprotected, but you're like, why not?
Yeah,
why the fuck not?
It's like that scene in Lord of War where they send those two prostitutes.
Yeah, but I would not be strong like Nicolas Cage. I'm not gonna go out and do like fucking cocaine mixed with gunpowder with a bunch of black dudes in the fucking alleyway in the middle of Somalia or where the fuck he was. Nicolas Cage is braver and tougher than me. But all right, I gotta go pee.
Okay. All right. So Jay's number 23 was Scream 5. Mine is gonna be, we talked about this a little bit. We'll talk about it some more. My number 23 is H2O. My number 23 is H2O. Look, I have a sordid relationship with H2O. Like, I'm so glad that it exists, and I'm so glad that it is what it was. I saw that in the theater. As it was the first Halloween movie I ever saw in the theater. And I remember sitting there and being like, I'm so excited. I can't believe I'm watching. And it's coming off the heels of Halloween 6, which just had this crazy production issues and like there's several different versions of it and all that was going on. And that shit was nuts. And then, Halloween 5 was a little bit older. So it's like, we got money. We got money to make a fucking Halloween movie. Holy shit. Hell yeah. And then you watch it. And I was so excited to watch it with a packed audience. But, it's a movie that has great moments in it. Laurie at the end of that movie walking around holding the axe, Michael, like fucking, that was so fucking cool. And I love Josh Hartnett in that movie. There's really cool things in H2O. That ending fight sequence when he's on the van and like she's got the axe and she cuts his head off. So cool. Like all of it was so cool, even though they retro fixed that and fucked it up. Thank God, because I just don't want Michael to be dead. But there's so many cool things in that. Him flipping the tables and shit, the fight scenes at the end. But look, we said it a million times. You got to get Michael right. They couldn't get the fucking mask. You had all that goddamn money. You couldn't hire somebody to make a good fucking mask. Let's fucking go. Come on. Halloween 6 had a better fucking mask. Just use that mask. They fucked up the mask. Not the biggest fan of that version of Michael Myers. And the worst sin that it commits, in my opinion, is the kills are just weak as fuck. Like it was like, I know what you did last summer version kills. You know what I mean? Like if the kills felt like I know what you did last summer, they were just not good. And Michael did some cool stuff with his behind the scenes art crafts after the bodies were dead. And I could appreciate that. And I love Laurie Strode in that movie, probably more. I kind of like Laurie Strode in H2O more than I do in Halloween 2018. She's drinking and all that shit like that. And was dealing with the trauma of it all. But yeah, I like that movie a lot. I really do. I like it, but it's not that great as a Halloween movie, just because as a horror movie, it was just like a CW film. They just never made it a good horror movie. And they fucked up Michael's look. So that's why H2O is low, but in the middle. And now we're getting to the point where we're getting to the middle of this list. And these movies they're not terrible. They're getting pretty good. Oh shit. Hang on. I'm going to fix my battery. I'm here. Sorry. Battery died. Fixed it. We're good. We're going to be all right. I'm back. These batteries only last so fucking long. But okay, number 22 now that we've gone through number 23. And I don't hate H2O. I really don't. I just think it was a missed opportunity in a lot of ways. And by the way, I emailed Robert Zappia, who wrote that movie, and asked him to come on the show. So hopefully we'll have an interview with him. I'd really like to pick his brain about how that whole thing went down. And Kevin Williamson from Scream even helped write the script, which is why it felt so screamy. But yeah, just 2 CW, man. You could have done better. They could have been better. They had a great story and they had Jamie Lee Curtis, and they didn't go all the way with that one like they could have. Had the opportunity definitely to be one of the best Halloween movies, just didn't do it. My number 22, and I don't love this pick, but it's Friday the 13th, the original Friday the 13th film. I don't love this movie. I don't love watching this movie, but it has to have its higher place in the list because it's such an important movie. It's such a classic. And it did something no other Friday the 13th movie did. It was a mystery. It was a whodunit. You know, it had this whole other layer that no other Friday the 13th movie had after that, because we didn't know who the fucking killer was. And it had this cool twist where it was the mom and him popping up at the end. It's a classic, so you got to put it high on the list. But I'll be goddamn, once you watch it once, it is not a very great rewatchable movie. I mean, the camera just zooms up to someone and they go, oh, you know what I mean? It's like rewatching it when you know what's happening. It's just like, it's not fun. So yeah, that's why it's not higher for me, but you got to respect it for the originality and all that of it for sure. Perfect timing. My number 22 was my number 23 was H2O. My number 22 was the Friday 13th, the original.
Yeah, I was gonna say, for the sake of brevity, we can start doing a lightning round, but I always felt like we could be assholes too, and we could be like, so we're gonna get to number 15, and then we're gonna stop, and then there's what's that? There's a Patreon button. You guys can click the Patreon button and get the rest of the list. I mean, it's the best. Like, what's this? What an asshole! But who knows?
Yeah, we will start to go a little bit faster because we're getting way behind. But
yeah, we are. So I'm gonna go ahead and knock out and go to 21. Number 21 coming in hot and sexy and sweet, sticky.
Ooh.
Friday the 13th, Part 3 is my number 21.
I love that movie.
I know. That's why I picked it so low on my list. But no, I don't know. I enjoy watching that movie, and I think it's got some cool death scenes. Friday the 13th, Part 3D, or Part 3D. It's got some interesting death scenes for sure. You have the point where the eyeball pops out of the camera and it's fun or whatever. But I just, dude, there's something about it that's so stupid. When Jason takes his mask off, he goes, like it was like they were like, and it's like I was like, you guys don't know what to do anymore, do you? You guys are just going full like stupid now. But I don't know. And again, I mean, there's a longer explanation, but at the same time, I don't think it's that good of a Jason movie. And again, Jason, Friday the 13th, the series is really hard for me to differentiate between one and the other, because they do all feel like they run together.
They do.
They really do. It's really hard sometimes. Like this one took me a long time to even think about, because I was like, oh yeah, that one. And the one that popped in my head, the reason why, it was the one where the eyeball pops at the screen. But overall, I felt like it was pretty weak sauce compared to the other ones that came before.
Yeah. Okay,
Jim. Yeah.
My number 21 is going to be, oh man, God, this hurts to do. And look, let me say something real quick.
I saw what you were going to type, bitch.
Hey, we're getting high. Hey, we're getting high into the list now. We're getting to really good films now. All right. Yeah. Like we're up number 20. We're almost halfway through this fucking list. All right. It's Halloween Kills. And this is not a negative.
Andy's not coming back on the show. You know that.
Chris either. Chris Nelson.
No, they're like, fuck this asshole. This fake piece of shit.
The reason, it's not low. I mean, on these are some fucking classics we're talking about now. We're getting into like good shit. Halloween Kills, to me, look, it is, I think I always say the people who hate it are louder than the people who like it, because these days we expect much more from our films. Like we expect much more. But if Halloween Kills had come out in the 80s, it would be like one of the most revered, fucking loved movies. Everybody would have looked right over Evil Dies Tonight. Everybody would have looked right over some of the stuff that's wrong with the movie and the meandering with one of the main problems they should have never done oh my God, that's Michael, the guy that jumps from all that. They made some mistakes in it, but at the end of the day, as a slasher movie, it's everything you want in a slasher movie. Michael Myers, fucking badass, some of the best kills of the entire franchise. Michael Myers just fucking people up, and they got Michael right. James Hugh Courtney did great. They made a great fucking mask. There's a lot of stuff to love. I like this movie a whole lot, but I can also see all the issues.
No, I mean, I could see people having it low on the list. I think the main things I loved about it, because it's a lot higher on my list. I definitely, spoiler alert, so I guess no one's going to be clicking that Patreon button. But I'm kidding, by the way. We were joking. But I love the flashback sequence. I love that sequence.
So good.
It was so amazing. And then also just the brutality of Michael himself. Those scenes that he was just unleashing, the firefighter scene, of course, so awesome. But yeah, I get it. My number 20 is going to be, we're going to talk a little bit about the Dream Master of Nightmare 4. Nightmare 4 is the Dream Master. Now, I have it at so it's breaking that top 20 list. This was to me the last time that Freddy Krueger was Freddy Krueger. You know what I mean? Like it was on that border of when it became stupid. Like in Freddy 5, it gets really fucking dumb, and then in Freddy 6, it goes full ham, and they're like whatever. But in Freddy 4, they were trying, and yeah, it had some corny shit like "Hello, baby," and then they had the like the comic book thing was stupid. But I mean, overall, I like at least they had Kincaid and Joey in it at the beginning, and they were trying to tie it in to Dream Warriors. They were trying to do something with it. It's not my favorite, but I do. There was some freaky shit in it, like the girl with asthma when he like sucks her fucking face out, and the cockroach scene with the girl working out. That was
Great
fucking nasty.
Yeah,
and but they definitely had some. They still had in their minds to make Freddy Krueger scary, and he wasn't full. Wolfman's got nards yet. So I appreciate it for that. And you know what? And to be like, and it just felt like Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
It felt like Freddy Krueger.
I rewatched that last night, changed my mind about the movie completely, but I'll get into that when I get into it. So my number 20 is going to be Friday the 13th, part 2. Oh, Baghead Jason.
I get that one.
Number 20. Yeah, like, look, Jason was fucking great. The Baghead was fucking awesome. The scene where they peer to the window and he's running down that fucking hill. Some of the scariest, coolest Jason shit we've ever fucking gotten.
That shit like it could happen.
Yeah, I know. Love wheelchair guy. Should have been the final guy, as you and I have always fucking said. I hated the lead girl. She was annoying. The movie kind of plods and it's kind of slow, but they're really starting to figure out Jason. I like this movie a lot, so that's why it's my number 20.
I like it. So my number 19 is strangely enough, it's going to be Friday the 13th, part 2. I'm not kidding. And by the way, Mike and I didn't collaborate on this list at all. It was just basically like, hey, you have to handle this alone. You have to do it yourself. We rank these separately. The same reasons. And Backhead Jason is classic and iconic in a lot of ways. And I really wish they would actually have done more with Backhead Jason before he got the iconic mask. I mean, I know why, I understand. Would Jason be the same Jason without the hockey mask? We don't know. But I think that Backhead Jason was fucking freaky. It was scary. And there was something about it that actually, when I say that shit can happen, like, I mean, come on. You've been in the fucking woods in Kentucky? Like in the eastern part of Kentucky, and you're out there camping, and some motherfucker that's like, you burned my tobacco field or some shit like that, and they come out there. I don't know.
Hey, had he kept the Backhead through the whole series, I think it would probably. This might be controversial. It may have been just as popular. I don't know.
Maybe.
But all right. So my number, and we said we're speed rounding. We're still taking our time with it. Don't worry, we're not rushing too fast. My number 19 though is going to be another Friday the 13th film. And some people are saying, whoa, I like these movies. These movies are great. Hey, guys, we're at number 19 right now. We're talking Scream, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street.
There's a lot of movies ahead.
We're getting in the top 20. These are good movies. You know what I mean? Like,
and guys, by the way, this was agonizing as fuck. Like,
it was hard.
Down and try to come up with a list of 37 out of all of these. That's hard as shit, guys.
We're no longer in shit movie territory. We're in some of the better ones now. So remember that. Try to remember that. 19's pretty fucking high. That being said, my number 19 is going to be Friday the 13th. New. Fucking shit. What's going on here? You guys know what I'm talking. Oh shit. What's going on? My computer's taking a shit. A New Blood.
You know what? You've lost the scholarship. You can't go. You've lost the scholarship. You can't
go. I used to dislike this movie a lot more. Jay actually is part of the reason I changed my mind on it so much. I think the opening is fucking dumb as shit. The whole story is dumb as shit. Like, she got mad at her dad and like he went down, and then why is Jason coming up from the water? Like, there's so much shit in this that doesn't make any sense at all. But at the end of the day, Ghost Jason's fucking cool as shit, right? And that ending scene, some of the scenes, like the scene where he fucking spears the guy in the MasterCard scene and all that.
It was brutal.
Yeah, and then the ending scene where you actually have somebody formidable who can fuck Jason up too, even though telekinesis is a really stupid thing to throw in the middle of this franchise.
Say that to Jean Grey.
that last set piece was pretty fucking rad, dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why.
It was Kane Hodder's first appearance, and he got set on fire after having that terrible accident. By the way.
Yeah.
And it was the first time, dude, that scene when she like squishes his mask and it breaks apart, and he's like, oh.
Yeah.
I was like, that motherfucker needs some Popeyes.
Yeah. I used to hate this movie, but honestly, like, it kind of fucking rocks. You know what I mean?
It's fun. Okay, so my number, so it's gonna be 18. And again, this is definitely going to ruffle some feathers here. But again, like Mike explained, there's so many movies, and these are not bad movies, by the way. We're in the top 20. Like, out of all these great, fantastic series, this is honorable. It's going to be Halloween 2, the original Halloween 2.
Oh, okay.
And the reason why, well, there's of course, the movie itself is dynamic and it's phenomenal. It's fun, but there's boring parts to it also that I don't think that people want to admit. And Michael Myers looked like shit. That mask was stretched. It looked like he looked like a taxi cab driver had sat on that fucking mask for like 3 weeks and then smoked around it. It was all stretched out. He had a huge it looked like shit. The mask looked like garbage juice. And then on top of that, he had a fucking scalpel the entire time. And I know it's cool, I guess, but it's like, how the fuck do you pick up that nurse with a scalpel, in the hallway? Like, how the fuck you do that?
You got
like,
the
I don't know.
exercises.
Like, I hated that. I didn't like the scalpel thing. And then Michael kind of looks like doofus. He looks doofy when he walks through the plexiglass. I know that's a badass scene, but it's also doofy looking. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm
with you.
That movie, to me, like, it has a great ending with the and if that was the last Halloween movie ever, especially the way that Loomis ends with fighting Michael Myers, and then you have where he has the fire and all that stuff goes down, I'd be like, all right, well, that's a good ending. Again, the boogeyman went out fighting his greatest nemesis. I mean, of course, some people would argue that Jamie Lee Curtis is his nemesis, but I'll disagree. If Loomis had gone out with that moment, killing Michael, I would be like, yeah, that's a pretty good ending if they're never going to make another Halloween movie again. But still, I just don't like the fact that, again, you have Michael Myers, his mask looks like shit the entire time. It does slow to a crawl in certain parts in that film. And then, he is very goofy looking. There's something goofy about him. I don't know why. I think that, but I just do. But it's still a good movie. I still enjoy it. I mean, again, the 18 is not a bad ranking for, all the other movies that are left, but that's what I'm going to go with.
Tear Up, that was my daughter. Not my girlfriend, buddy.
Yeah, Mike's such a badass that he has his wife and his girlfriend live in the same house. It's amazing.
Oh wow.
Like Mike took a page out of Jada Pinkett Smith's book.
Oh shit. My number 18 is gonna be but I mean, I feel you on that one. I don't think I'm too far off from you. I'm a little far off from you, but we'll see. My number 18 is gonna be people aren't gonna like this either, Jay. New Nightmare.
Well, I don't like it, but that's just me.
That's not so low on the list. I mean, that's 18.
Yeah, I feel like we're trying to justify everything now.
Yeah.
Like even more so than the last few.
Yeah. But New Nightmare, look, there's things I love about the movie. I just think that New Nightmare is way too convoluted. I think it's kind of a mess of a story. Like, I think what Wes Craven was going for was admirable, and I think it's a cool idea. But I just think it got way too convoluted towards the end with everything that was going on. And there's some really great moments in it, but it's just one of those things. Like, if you take 2 seconds to look at it, you go, this doesn't make any fucking sense. What the fuck? You know what I mean? But still some amazing moments, a new version of Freddy. I really like some stuff in that movie, but yeah, it's still.
I get it. Yeah, it's not for everybody. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So my number, I guess we're on 17 now.
It's okay, Tara. It's all right.
This one's gonna get people's assholes whistling because they're gonna be like, Jay needs to have his goddamn Blockbuster card revoked because this guy don't know movies. This guy knows nothing but dicks and dick cheese. God, I didn't want to say it, but
I know it hurts, doesn't it? It's hard to say. It's like you're disappointing someone.
And there's a reason. Friday the 13th, the original.
No, that's okay. Right. I already had it while you were gone. Mine's living lower.
Okay. Well, the reason why, again, I think that while it is an interesting movie and you have fun watching it, once you know the end, there's no point in going back to it. And plus, they made such a dynamic character in Jason. That's why people watch the series to begin with. Yes, Pamela Voorhees is the killer in the first one. And yes, it does have a very good aura of mystery about it, very much like a Psycho thing, an Alfred Hitchcockian type of story. But once that's over and you've seen the movie, it just doesn't have for me the same kind of appeal or the comeback that it needs to have. Yeah,
Sorry.
cum back on your back. That the other Friday the 13th
the
movie
old
has.
Deshaun
Let's be
Watson.
honest with you. Let's be honest with each other, okay? Let's touch each other and be honest. Friday the 13th is only successful because of Jason Voorhees. I mean, that's facts. I mean, we're not like we're not telling lies. We're not like spreading false information. We're not doing any of that stuff. We're telling the truth right now. Let's just be honest with you. Yes, you don't love your wife, and that's okay. Just say it truthfully, Will. Oh, I'm sorry. I was going somewhere else. But yes, I think that the reality of it is Friday the 13th, the original, is a good movie. And if they never made another Friday the 13th movie, it would be held up in a higher, loftier standard. But it's not now because Jason came in and really just stole the show.
Yeah.
But it's a good movie. It's just once you know the ending, it just really kind of goes nowhere. I don't even watch that movie anymore. When I watch Friday the 13th, I skip that movie and
That's
go to
what I said. There's no reason to watch. Once you saw it once, it's good. It's good for that first time watch. But once you know it, it's like, oh, this.
Unless you're like in love with Kevin Bacon and you just want to see that butt. But
but what's fun about watching someone go?
No, he does have. He is
like
wearing tight jeans, and it's in the 70s.
Oh shit, where my shit go? Okay, so, no, I'm with you, dude. Like I said, I had it even lower. So no worries, Negretch. My number 17 is going to be Friday the 13th, the reboot.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, I imagine this is probably gonna be higher on your list. I know how you love the reboot of Friday the 13th.
Yeah, but
hey, number 17 is pretty fucking high. All right, it's
high.
pretty fucking high on a list of this magnitude. But no, I think the movie's great. One of the best openings in horror history. Like I'll say that right now. The way that they pretended we were gonna watch these stoners, dumbasses, big titty, oily titties. To be, I don't know why I went into that, but
so juicy, bro.
Yeah, like we're gonna see these people and like they're gonna be the movie, and then all of a sudden Jason just kills them all, and then Friday the 13th, fucking genius. Amazing. The movie tailed off when you bring in Jared Padalecki and you do the whole girlfriend thing, but I did love Trent and your boobs are so great, bro.
That guy
like,
was
that
great.
Whole thing.
Yeah.
Your tits are so juicy, bro.
Yeah, that was so good.
That whole stuff. I feel like it tailed off towards the end. It lost like some of its stuff, but him finding the mask, the way that they smartly told the origin, just with like flashbacks, was so cool. Derek Mears is a fucking great Jason. A lot of stuff to love.
Really nice guy too.
Yeah, a lot of stuff to love, and I love this movie. But I do feel like it petered off towards the end, and the ending was left a lot to be desired, in my opinion. But should we not have gotten a sequel? Yes, we should have.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, and the fact that it was Michael Bay produced.
Yeah, great.
In of itself was amazing. And dude, that beginning when he takes that girl and he's like, or the guy, and he's slamming him through the fire. Oh my god, dude, that was fucking brutal.
Underrated fucking Platinum Dunes remake for
brutal as shit. Yeah. So my number 16 is going to be Friday the 13th, Jason Lives. So it'd be part 6.
Ooh, very low.
I actually enjoy the movie. Again, I don't think that Tommy in his blue jean baby queen jacket is that good of a character necessarily. I know that people love that guy, and I can't remember his name. He's a good actor. I mean, I'm not taking anything from him, but it's Tommy Jarvis. I just really buy into his heroic shit. But the reason why I like the movie is it's so preposterous how they bring him back when they're all like rushing to the graveyard, and he's like, I gotta find out if Jason's dead. I gotta see if he's dead. And then they dig him up, and then the lightning, like it did, the lightning strikes, and then it like brings him back to life, and then the maggots. He looks so fucking cool, and then he stands up and he turns around and he's got the mask. It looks very much like a Frankenstein type of moment. It was cool that they were like, all right, we're just gonna embrace this as a creature feature. Like at this point, Jason is Frankenstein. He's a monster with supernatural, superhuman strength that's going to go out and do what he do. And then also, I mentioned it earlier because I got these two confused. The RV scene when that dude is on the bus, and I thought it was some of the cool shit when Jason's on the RV with them, and he pushes that dude's face through the aluminum siding of the RV, kill. And then you see it go through, and it looks like fucking Robert Patrick in T-1000.
Yeah,
dude, there was so many moments that there were, overall, Jason just looked cool. The sound was cool. I don't know. It was just a cool 80s movie. I just had a good time watching it. Like, I mean, and again, my list is based on movies that I actually can watch. and have a good time watching. So that's why
I felt the same way when I made mine too. Yeah, exactly. So it's like in between like your favorites and like the best, and like right between there is like which ones do I enjoy the most?
Yeah, like I ain't no professional critic, but I'm just putting it on the ones that I would be like, hey, employees picks of the month. If you went to Blockbuster, it'd be like employees picks. Like,
I
was like,
yeah,
these
exactly.
make me feel good when I watch them.
That being said, my number 16 is going to be Friday the 13th as well. There's so many Friday movies, dude. Like there really are.
Well, there was a shit ton of them.
Friday the 13th 3D is going to be my number 16. I fuck Richard Brooker, dude. One of my favorite, maybe my favorite Jason. Those fucking traps, dude. And that's my favorite.
Oh, yeah, he did
Jason
have,
ever had. And the Hunter Green with the mask, so fucking just like he was so intimidating to me. Like I thought he did a great job in that. Rest in peace, Richard Brooker. But like, you know, the cast wasn't the best, but what they did, what was so great about this movie is it was the first time you saw the iconic Jason mask, right? It had some of the best kills in it. I love the scene where he's actually like, I like all that.
He looked like fucking Lloyd from Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, there's just something smooth about this movie, dude. I like this is where Friday the 13th found its fucking treading. I love this movie. I don't know what to say. It's maybe my favorite version of Jason is that Richard Brooker Jason. So
he was a really his traps that shit was right, dude. That motherfucker could crack walnuts if he like stretched his neck.
Yeah, dude.
Like I've never seen traps that big in my life.
He was amazing. He was amazing.
All right, so my number 15 is going to be you know, I guess this is where we have the same opinion on you know, finding their footing. Wes Craven's New Nightmare is my number 15. So I've always, I mean, it's not been a secret on the channel anyway. I do like what they did with New Nightmare, and again, I feel like they should get a goddamn Medal of Honor and a Purple Heart and a Silver Cross and a star, whatever the fucking highest military accolades you can get from what they had to do and had to come back from with Freddy's Dead. Okay, if you look at Freddy's the Dream Child, Freddy 5, and then Freddy's Dead. At that point, that motherfucking was a turd in the water that hadn't been flushed. And then Wes Craven had to come in and clean it up somehow and make something out of it and do something different with Freddy Krueger that hadn't been done before. And I think he knocked it out of the park. I think he did the best he could do with what he had to make that more palatable for the horror fans of Freddy Krueger and try to bring Freddy back to more of a masculine, more terrifying presence than he had become since Dream Child. You know, I know it's not his look, the way that Freddy looks is not my favorite, but I mean, his attitude, the way that he is like more sinister, I feel like that is a lot more of a cooler looking Freddy. I definitely feel like it's more of a Freddy Krueger that I'm used to seeing than what they had let it go to from Freddy 5 to Freddy 6.
Yeah, that's a good point. His look was sinister as fuck, dude. You're right.
Yeah, not his costume. I mean, those leather pants are going to cause some problems with the Hell's Angels, and you have a lot of butt sweat. But the leather pants should have had. The leather pants. You could have smelled Freddy coming from a mile away because you know his balls stink.
And you know,
like tease.
We're only 3 away in our ranking of New Nightmare, but I will say I respect the nut sack on Wes Craven to go that balls to the wall with that idea too. You know?
And you know what's weird about that is like he went meta with it.
Yeah, it was ballsy. It was dude. It was that took some guts to do that. My number 15 is going to be. Oh, this is where we get to the point where people get really fucking.
Well, how about you give your 15, and then after this, now it all cuts off. And that Patreon button is calling your name right now. All you sexy folks out there right now that have stuck with it and you want to see that number 1, I can smell it.
We're going behind the curtain.
That Patreon, you can go $1 a month.
Don't leave. He's kidding.
No, I'm kidding. I know some people's going to be like, I knew it. I knew
it. Number 15 for me, this is where people are just going to fucking hate my guts. And I'm just going to have to be all right with that, Jay.
I already hate you, so it's fine.
Okay, good. My number 15 is going to be Dream Warriors. Dream Warriors.
Fucking piece of shit.
I know.
Do that because you know I like it.
No, I swear to God, I just don't like this movie as much as anybody else does. I think this is a tale.
You don't like Finn Lawrence Fishburne?
I love Finn Lawrence Fishburne.
Person.
I put my water wet. But like, dude, the first half of the movie is a fucking classic. It's one of the best. The first half of Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is one of the best movies, horror movies of all time. Dream Warriors is. But the second half, when it gets into this stupid ass fucking Harry Potter bullshit, I've always hated. Like, I'm bad. Like, it's fun and quirky, like like a dentist office.
Yeah,
and
the
like
girl in the mohawk. Yeah.
yeah, we go to like a dentist office in the early 90s, and they're like, but it's cool because we have yikes pencils, like I'm still at the dentist office. Like, I don't know, like
Mike, all I gotta say is in my dreams, I'm beautiful and bad.
Yeah, the Harry Potter people, like, I just thought you took this scary fuck dude when he rips this dude's tendons out of his arms.
I can't watch
and
that.
He walks him.
I can't
like
watch
it's
that.
some of the scariest shit I've
so
ever
nasty.
seen in my fucking life. And then you end it with a fucking MTV video game. But for respect to the first half of the movie, number 15, in my thought, is a pretty high.
Well, it's still in the top 15, so it's not bad. But I mean, Dream Warriors to me, dude, not only did it produce one of the best Dream Warriors, it's got a great soundtrack. It's got a great soundtrack. It also had some of the coolest, like at that time anyway, special effects when he's like a fucking worm and he tries to eat goddamn what's her name? Kristen? I don't remember, not Kristen.
Arquette, the Arquette.
No, not Dave. No, what was Nancy? Oh, no,
Heather Langenkamp.
But he tries to eat he tries to eat Patricia Arquette. I thought it was fucking gnarly, dude. That was it was like watching a big dick that looks like a snake try to absorb the girl, which is it was weird.
The first half was amazing. Welcome to Primetime, bitch. All the stuff in the first half I loved. I will also say Neil is one of the most annoying fucking douchebags I've ever seen in a horror movie.
You know what?
And I think Heather Langenkamp, God, you guys are gonna fucking hate me. Why am I saying this out loud? Is one of the most overrated actresses ever. Like,
well, I think that
act like she's great. She's always just like, yeah.
I think that she's
like,
good. I think that she's good in the series. I don't think that she's like a great actress necessarily. But
I don't get
at the same time, we're never gonna have her on the show now. But that's fine. So my number 14 is going to be Friday the 13th, New Blood. We've talked about that, why Mike didn't like it, but I liked it because I guess what you said was correct. The fact that Jason finally had a challenger, and it kind of felt like precursors to what we had in Jason versus Freddy. I mean, it was like, the immovable object meets the unstoppable force. And I liked that. I thought that was cool. And again, you come from the other one where it wasn't even Jason, right?
Yeah.
And you have to repair that. And I know that there was the one with Tommy, Jason Lives, and all that happened. But I mean, you have New Blood, and then it's like he looked fucking badass, dude. You had the ribs showing, you had the spine showing, you had the chain around his neck. He looked fucking phenomenal. Kane Hodder was a beast. He was the first one that brought the iconic Jason where he's breathing and his shoulders are moving. I just thought, and then you had
I wasn't flicking you off. I was flicking off Sean.
No, I don't care. I mean, it's fine.
I typed it in wrong.
I always try to like just not look at insults. But I thought I just, for me, it was an incredible movie. It really, I liked the movie a lot. And again, I'm into that stuff. I'm into that sci-fi mixed with horror element, and that's what they did in this. They made it, and you know what? Maybe that's why I liked it, because in general, horror movies scare the fuck out of me. I mean, that's what their job is. I understand, but in this one, it was like that girl can fight back, so I'm not that scared. When he comes across her, he's gonna be in trouble, mister. So I was like, when I was a kid and I was watching, I was like, I had got to that point yet where Jason was a hero. I was always going to get scared, but now I was like, hey, there's somebody out in the world that can actually challenge Jason. That's a telekinetic, and everything's okay. So if that guy ever pops up in real life, I'll find a girl that, I'll find a Jean Grey and she can fight him. I don't know. I just liked it a lot. I don't know. It's one of those movies that just, it's a product of its time, but it's fun. It's just a really fun movie.
I'm with you. I like I said, you changed my mind on it. I used to fucking hate that movie, but now I like it. My number 14. Oh God, it just gets worse when I realize that I put it above Dream Warriors. How bad it's going to be.
Tell your truths.
Look, man. Look, I'm not saying it's for everybody. But my number 14 is going to be Scream 5. God, that hurts to say. I know people are.
That's a lot, dude. That's really high, though.
I know it is. Jake.
God damn.
I know it is. And
who paid you? Are you sponsored right now?
Hot
Are you sucking
damn,
Seat Ulrich's dick?
hot damn garbage shits. But look, oh
Oh
God.
man, that's so high, dude.
Fuck, I
Holy
probably
shit.
should have put
I
this at
forgot
number
that.
15.
I thought you'd already put that on the list somewhere.
No, I haven't had it yet.
What are you doing with yourself?
Look, I like the movie a lot. It seems very high. It seems very high now that I say it out loud.
Yes, dude, it's very high.
It seems
Holy
very
shit.
fucking high. I'm kind of scared right now.
Yeah.
I don't know what I did.
Go ahead, go with it.
I'm feeling
Go
it.
with it.
But I like the movie a lot. You know, I like it. They brought it the fuck back. They brought it back, man. And
Yeah.
we all had these crazy ideas. We were like, oh, you got to do this, and this, and all this crazy shit like that. But they brought it back. And who would have thought that someone not named Wes Craven could make a fucking competent ass Scream movie with all the Scream bullet points, the way that the camera goes from shot to shot. There's a million little things that go into a Wes Craven Scream production. And they actually managed to nail that and open up Scream for the next generation in a whole Force Awakens sort of way.
That's a terrible example. Don't say Force Awakens.
No, because they brought it back and like, hey, now we did the original, like not the original, but like we set the tone. We can make a good Scream movie.
Yeah.
Now in the next movie, we're gonna throw some shit on your fucking head. Yeah. And I just thought they did a great job with it. I felt like being in the theater for the first time, watching a Scream film again as an adult was really fun for me. And I thought all the new actors were surprisingly, shockingly good. And while I didn't love the killer reveal, I thought the Ghostface stuff was great. Dewey, while I was there, was fucking great. I just really enjoy this movie. And like you said earlier, when you look at this, you're like, which movies do I really like to watch? Who do I really love to watch? I love watching Scream 5. I have a great time with it. So
yeah, it's not bad. You know, it's kind of like for me, Scream 5. I said it was surprisingly good. I came in with no expectations. I didn't think it was going to be good, or I didn't give a fuck. I actually thought it was going to be bad. No, so I take that back. I had expectations. I thought it was going to be a dog shit, you know, in the park that no one should, you know, like a dog park, or not a dog, like a park where dogs aren't supposed to take a poop, and then no one cleaned it up. But it didn't turn out that way, and it turned out pretty good. But it's kind of the same way when the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie came out. Yeah. I watched that movie with April like twice.
Yeah,
because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the movie. So I get it. Like Scream 5, Scream 5 did a good job of bringing older folk back that remembered Scream 1, because they weren't trying to be meta on purpose, and they weren't trying to be like goofy like they did in Scream 3. They were just trying to make a good Scream movie. The only problem I had with the movie was that you could literally figure out the killer in 20 minutes.
Right. And that's why I call it The Force Awakens, because like, hey, let's get back to simplistics, and then next time we'll go crazy. But you mentioned something that I want to point out too, rewatchability and all that stuff like that. Like, you got to think, guys, like Scream 5, whether you like the killer or whatever, it's a well-oiled machine. How many of these movies, these 80s sequels like that, we look back at nostalgically and we're like, I really love it because of the nostalgic reason, or because this scene or that scene or this comedic scene or whatever. But how many of these deep cut Friday the 13th sequels are well-oiled, well-made movies? Not many of them. I mean, if you're being honest with yourself, well, Scream 5, for all its faults, is a well-oiled machine.
I think that Scream 5 really falls in line with what they did with Halloween. Meaning that they brought something back that had been missing for a long time.
Yes, exactly. Which is why a movie like Halloween Kills gets shit on so hard, because now the expectations are so high. If Halloween Kills came out in the 80s, it would have been the most beloved fucking movie of all goddamn time. Yeah. Bet. I fucking guarantee.
Yeah, well, I think that's why I get your ranking. I get it. I'm not a big fan of Scream, so I mean that's why it was not high on my list. But no, I get it. So my number 13 is going to be okay. So I'm gonna name this one, and then I'm gonna be a coward and run away and go pee, because I'm gonna have Mike's 13 and you can go. But okay, so
it's gonna be bad, isn't it?
No, it's not bad. It's not. Well, okay. I mean, some people are gonna disagree with this 100%. But my number 13 is gonna be Halloween 2018.
Okay. No, that's not,
2017 was the prequel behind the prequel. But 2018. Look, the reason why I feel like when Halloween 2018 came out, people had varying degrees of opinions when you saw the trailer and then what you were expecting. The last Halloween flavor that had been in your mouth was Rob Zombie's Cum. And that's nobody. Everybody wants to forget that.
That's
Everybody wants
licorice
to forget
flavored
that.
cum.
Like, yeah, that shit tastes like black licorice mixed with like rubber from Walmart. It's just not good. It may be super glue that you sniffed. But it was just, and so everybody was hyped up and pumped up. And I think that what they did with Halloween 2018 was they really did bring the franchise back to what people expected Michael Myers to be. You had an amazing soundtrack. John Carpenter came back and did the soundtrack with his grandson, Cody Carpenter. They did phenomenal work. They set the mood, they set the atmosphere. David Gordon Green created the exact type of environment that would that creates the flavor of what Michael Myers is. They didn't shy away from that. And they put you back in the. I feel like they put the fans first, which I appreciate. I feel like David Gordon Green and Blumhouse did what a lot of other studios and assholes don't do. And you mentioned Force Awakens. Disney is my perfect example. They don't put the fans first. Disney and those assholes over there, those corporate executive bitches, they would say, fuck the fans. I'm more about the woke ideology, and I don't give a shit about your lifestyle. What Halloween did was like, I care about the fans. I care about what their wants are, and I care about that coming back to the audience, but also introducing my characters to a different and broader audience. And I think they did that. And they also handled Michael Myers really well. James U. Courtney killed it. The iconic scenes, amazing music. And you're talking about like movies that if they came out in the 80s, Halloween 2018, if it came out in the 80s, holy shit, dude.
Look, they don't make movies like they used to back in the 80s. But here's the thing: nobody wants to admit they kind of make better movies now than they used to make in the 80s.
Sometimes,
I mean,
but then also, but
in a lot of cases, that's true.
But in the 80s, back in the day, they also didn't have as much of a corporate stranglehold that they have now on movies. Right. And then also they use practical effects because not everything was digitized.
Well, no, yeah, it depends on what genre you talk about. I'm talking like slashers, though. Slashers today, there's a lot more care, effort, and put into the mask, how the movie looks, the cinematography.
Well, I think that shit. Well,
you know what? It wasn't, man. It's just true.
You know what I think happened is I think that in the late 90s or maybe early 2000s that you had the influx of the Japanese horror with the Ring and shit and the Grudge that actually changed the game. But at the same time, either way, I think that the 80s, man, I like, it's weird for me. I feel like the 80s movies actually had more care in their movies. I feel like because they weren't doing it for a paycheck. They weren't doing it for like, dude, movies like Puppet
half of
Master.
the fucking slashers in the 80s were
well, no, I'm talking about like movies like Puppet Master, Critters, like stupid ass Ghoulies, like shitty movies, and those are classic movies, and they would never get greenlit today, ever.
I'm talking about slasher sequels. Slasher sequels, a lot of the times you had these guys that would go out and just be like, hey, slap some shit on it. It'll make fucking money at the box office because this is hot. Same as like the action movies at that time too. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about like the originals. Well, like the originals is where it was at. But
I think that anybody can fall victim to the sequel panic or whatever. Like we got to do something better than the original. Yeah. But I think that what Halloween 2018 did was Halloween 2018 brought it back to the forefront. Yeah. I think Halloween said, you know what? We're going to make a good slasher film. We're not going to virtue signal. We're just going to have a good fucking horror movie, which is what people want to go see in the theater anyway. They just want to go see a good horror movie. It's like, when's my Michael Myers coming back? Well, then they said, Daddy's home. Daddy's home. And so that's why I have it at 13. But I got to go pee. So
all right, go pee, motherfucker.
I'll be back.
All right. My number 13 is going to be, and before I say that, I do want to throw out a shout out to Kyler Allen, who says, love your guys' videos, just joined the Patreon. Thank you, Kyler. Appreciate that, man. There's a fucking buttload of shit on there. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for joining, dude. I appreciate that. We both do. So Jay's number 13 was Halloween 2018. And now we're getting into the fucking nitty goddamn gritty. Okay. My number 13 is going to be another Halloween film. And it's going to be a little ditty called Halloween. Rob Zombie's Halloween. You guys might be surprised. Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween. You guys might be surprised to see this so high on the list. You really might. Now, look, here's the thing. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 sucks. I think Rob Zombie is a dude that I root for. Every time he makes a movie, I'm going to watch that, and I'm going to hope it's fucking good. And 98% of the time, I walk away going, God damn, I need to loofah my asshole real deep tonight. It's just, but this fucking movie, we've said it 1,000 times. This is one of those few cases, and maybe he'll do this with the Munsters. It's one of those few cases where he had to. He couldn't be like, I'm going to be the coolest kid in the cafeteria. I'm going to spitball my fucking teacher with butt juice. Like, he had to work inside of John Carpenter's framework. He had to please the studio, and that tamed him a little bit. Yes, did they go too far with some stuff? For sure. And that's why the movie's not even higher. But the idea of bringing in a big-ass fucking Tyler Mane, a big, scary, brutal Myers, and having him fuck people up the way that he did was something this franchise really needed, especially coming off the heels of Halloween Resurrection, where you've got Michael Myers getting bitch slapped and roundhouse by Busta Rhymes. He brought in a Michael Myers not to be fucking toiled with, and Tyler Mane, and a great replacement for Laurie Strode in Scout Taylor Compton. She was amazing in that movie. And just, they had all sorts of great actors in that movie. Like, the cast was great. Like Brad Dourif, like all of it. They fucked up in deciding to, hey, Michael Myers just trailer trash boy, grew up. He liked to stick his finger up weasels' assholes. He liked to skin rats. His sister liked to make jokes about him jerking off rats, and his sister was just a nasty hoe, and Ronnie was just a piece of shit. I'll come over and skull fuck the shit at you. For some reason, it was this weird amalgamation where those scenes worked because they were actually pretty fucking funny. As a Myers fan, you hate it because you're like, that is the epitome of what Michael Myers is not about. Michael Myers is scary because he's the shape. He's a fucking figure of the darkness. You don't know why this kid just snapped in the middle of the fucking night and went fucking buku on everybody for no goddamn reason and decided to carry that with him. That's why Michael Myers is scary. So really, like, an immortal fucking error for the movie to just make him some product of trailer trash. Absolutely. But on a visual sort of field, like when you forget the story a little bit, you bring in Malcolm McDowell as Loomis, who did a great job. The characters, the actors did a great job, and the action, the brutality of Michael Myers was something the franchise sorely needed. So I actually really enjoy this movie. Now, that director's cut where you got needless rape scenes and Rob Zombie goes Rob Zombie, you kick that into the fucking lake. All right, that piece of shit can blow me. Fuck that movie. But the original theatrical cut of Halloween is actually Rob Zombie's best film, in my opinion. I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna fucking say it. So that being said, number 12 for me is going to be just above it. Halloween 2. Sticking with Halloween. The original Halloween 2, not Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Don't get crazy. Don't go to Subway. The original Halloween 2. Pacing problems. Major pacing problems. Sure. The fucking shots of the hospital. Like, how long are we going to watch Laurie limp around this fucking hospital before something fucking happens? But it also had some of the best kills. Some of the most brutal kills. The hot tub scene where he fucking grabs her and she's like sucking on Michael Myers' nasty ass fingers and he drowns her in that hot water. One of the most brutal kills of the series. And it's the movie that most connects with the original classic. It's like, hey, we're going to take this, we're going to run with it. And they did some really, really cool stuff and some freaky ass shit. Like, if you never saw this movie and nobody ever made a sequel to Halloween, and I told you, hey, let's make a sequel, it's going to pick up right after that grassy knoll is empty and you hear Michael Myers breathing, but it's going to be Laurie trapped in a hospital, an almost empty hospital. Michael Myers is going to be stalking her through this empty hospital. Scary as fuck, goosebumps on your arms. Great fucking idea for a movie. They had a lot of good ideas going for it. Just, goddamn, take 25 minutes out of that fucking thing. It might be goddamn perfect. It's just one of those 80s horror movies that just lagged a little bit, but it still had that. It had more John Carpenter feel than maybe any other Halloween movie aside from the original. And that's because he wrote the fucking thing. Some great Loomis stuff. I love the movie, and Michael's really scary at certain times in it. If it didn't lag as much, it could have been fucking way higher on the list. But yeah, Halloween 2 is just, it's like an expansion pack of the greatest fucking horror movie of all time. And for me, if that's not close to the top 10 at least, what are we doing here? So that's my number 12.
Way lower than that.
What?
Hey,
Dude,
I gotta point out,
what?
This has been a lot of fun, man. I'm
having a blast.
This has been fun. And I know we're all gonna have difference of opinions, and I know that people are gonna rage or whatever, but dude, this has been fucking fun. Like I really like this. Like to me, it's about like again, movies that you enjoy watching, which is all what it's all about. It's like the movies that you enjoy watching. So this is not like, I mean, of course, we could say it's our definitive list that we would have on Halloween night that we would like watch if we had to watch 37 movies in a row, which I mean, holy shit, you'd be in a coma. But if you had that, that's what I think is fun. And I think the next list, maybe the next listing we should have is non-legendary movies, like if you had to rank like movies that came out in the 2000s, like Disturbing Behavior or House on Haunted Hill or Ghost Ship or shit like
that. That'd be fun. And then also, dude, we can also come back to this. Like we were gonna add Hellraiser to this, but I looked and I was like, man, I don't remember this fucking movie.
I knew those movies, but I knew you hadn't watched them. I was gonna do a bonus ranking, but it wouldn't be fair because Mike's not seen them. But I could rank them. But yeah.
But we should come back to this before the new one comes out, and we'll keep this list and we'll add the Hellraiser movies in the list where they belong. But meanwhile, dude, my number 13 was Rob Zombie's Halloween. My number 12 was Halloween 2, the original Halloween 2. And it's time for your number 12, and I'll be right back, and then we'll finish this thing off.
Okay.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah, suck that dick. So my number 12 is going to be Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. Is it high? Yes, of course it is, Jim. I mean, that's what I'm probably high right now, but it is high because I think that what Halloween 6 did was Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers did something much like Friday the 13th, the remake did, the new Nightmare movie did, was that it revitalized a series that was pretty much dead in the water. If you look at Halloween 6, was it the greatest, ever? No, of course not. But it brought back the brutality of Michael. Like I think that, to me, still the operating room scene in that movie is the best Michael Myers death scene or him inflicting death on people that I've ever seen in my life. I enjoyed that movie tremendously. And yes, there was a lot of problems with the producer's cut or the director's cut or whatever, and then the regular standard version. But I think that Halloween 6, man, it was scary in a lot of ways. I think that Michael was truly brutal in that movie. I think that he was he was something else. I know I sound like Willy Wonka. He was something else, that kid that got that golden ticket. But no, he really was. And Tommy in that particular movie with Paul Rudd playing that role was phenomenal. And that was his, like, was it his first role? Was it his first movie or second movie? Because I know he did Clueless. I don't remember. Maybe he did Clueless first and then this movie. Either way. Okay, either way, April was saying that maybe he did this one first, but he did great, way better than what Anthony Michael Hall did. And I don't know. I really believed. I believed the characters. I guess is what I'm saying. Like Tommy, played by Paul Rudd, did a really good job conveying the emotions and what he was there for and why he was there for. I think that he hit all those points. And then obviously you had Donald Pleasance in his last movie, and as far as ever. And then and especially for a Halloween movie, I think he did great as well. The ending, not so good. Obviously, it's not so good. That flavor was not good. It didn't taste good, but I still liked it, man. I remember watching that trailer when I was a kid, renting a movie from Blockbuster or Hollywood Video or whatever, and seeing that trailer pop up on the movie before the feature presentation, and I was like, holy shit, I can't wait for that movie to come out. And I was not disappointed. I thought he was brutal. I thought he was scary. Michael Myers, I mean. And I think that overall the story itself was more malleable than what they had done with Halloween 5. Halloween 5, that whole like, I'm connected to Michael Myers because I'm his niece, like that shit, they were like, fuck that, we're not doing that anymore. All right, we're done with that. We're never going to use runes, whatever. But at least it was something different than the whole psychokinetic, I guess is what you would call it, connection with the niece. So yeah, I really did enjoy Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. And So it leads me to my next ranking, which is my number 11. Meaning that in Halloween 6, I felt like he was the most brutal Michael I'd ever seen. A very terrifying presence that they brought on screen until we get to my number 11. And again, this is much higher than Mike's. We go to Halloween Kills. So my number 11, and again, I know that not everyone's going to agree with me, but again, I want Andy to come back on the show and Christopher Nelson. No, I'm kidding. I really did enjoy Halloween Kills. I think what Halloween Kills did was that they were able to bring the brutalizing nature of Michael to the forefront in a way that I hadn't seen since Halloween 6. And that includes Rob Zombie. Rob Zombie's Michael Myers was very brutal, very destructive, very intimidating. But to me, I had not seen a truly rage-filled Michael and a very unforgiving Michael since Halloween 6. And then Halloween Kills comes out, and it lived up to the name, in my opinion. I feel like you see Michael unhinged. I feel like you see Michael on a mission to fuck things up and take no names. I see. I just see an overall amazing cast that, other than Anthony Michael Hall, that does not do a good job here, but everybody else that plays their part to perfection and then gives Michael the forefront of the screen. I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was amazing. And to be honest with you, I think that without Halloween Kills, or I mean, I could say Halloween 2018 for sure, but you wouldn't have any kind of talk anymore in the ether about making more Halloween movies. I think Halloween Kills is one of those movies that comes out once in a generation. Much like what Mike was talking about with Scream 5, I think that what Halloween Kills did was it got back to the basics. It got back to what the basics of Michael Myers like are, and why people enjoy watching Michael Myers on screen. Like, and it's kind of weird to say that, but like to horror fans like us, the ladies and gentlemen in the crowd, and Mike and myself, Michael Myers is a Batman type figure. Like, I mean, he's a badass, he's cool, you know, and he does what he needs to do, and he's fucking crazy, you know, and he like, it's no holds barred with him. And I think that's what Halloween Kills does. So that's why I have it so high on my list. And I think they changed the game, and I think that they didn't lie either. So anyway, my number 12 was Halloween 6, Curse of Michael Myers.
Okay.
And then number 11 was Halloween Kills, because that's the only time that I thought that Michael did better than the operating scene in The Curse.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point. And by the way, Fruit Loops are us with a fucking $100 super chat in there. Dude.
Holy shit! Thank you, sir.
Loops, you motherfucker.
Thank you, sir. I will spend that on strippers. Not. I will spend that on child support.
Hey, we went to the strip club a couple weeks ago. It is. You think inflation's hit the gas pump? It's hit the fucking strip club, buddy. You don't want to go there.
Yeah, for a usual lap dance, it's $2.50. Maybe a gift card to Waffle House. Now it's like you have a gift card to fucking Applebee's. Like,
yeah,
bitch, you think I'm rich?
$75 for a dance? Damn.
Yeah, that's
10 years for some weed. Damn.
I remember that one time that lap dance. That bitch was trying to get money, and I'm like, you weren't that good. What the fuck?
Hey,
it's
but
like,
thank you.
You think your fucking vagina smells like roses? What the shit?
It smells like boo, boo, boo. Yeah. Hey, Fruit Loops, man, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, man.
We're having a great fucking time here. So you doing that just adds to it. Thank you so much, dude. That's really sweet of you, man. Thank you. All right, my number 11. Jay's number 11 was
Halloween Kills.
Or no, your number 12 was Halloween 6. Your number 11 was Halloween Kills. Which I'm happy about, showing it some love. My number 11 is going to piss people off more than Halloween Kills does, my friend. Since I had the other Nightmare on Elm Street so far back there, my number 11 is going to be a Nightmare on Elm Street 4.
You son of a bitch.
Oh, I know it hurts. People not going to like. But let me tell you this, dude. I rewatched this last night, and I think it's the first time I watched this movie without watching every movie beforehand. And like doing the whole completist thing that I usually do. I went in and watched A Nightmare on Elm Street 4 by itself and just shocked the shit out of me how much I fucking love this movie. Like, dude, I mean, it's like, okay, so the original Nightmare was fucking, it was what it was. The Nightmare 2 was fucking amazing. Nightmare 3 was a classic. Everybody loves it. So I think Nightmare 4 came out, and I think it was really fucking great. But because those other 3 movies were so good, it doesn't get the respect it deserves. The end of the movie is dumb. Yes. The last act of the movie is really bad.
Amanda Kruger, say it, bitch. I give you holy water, whore.
Music Man's so butthurt right now. Hey, it's just what I like, dude. It's just my opinion.
It's our opinion, guys. Don't worry about it. It's okay. You guys can make your list. It's harder than it looks.
I've explained why I don't love 3 the way everybody else does, but 4 to me, dude, the kills, the cockroach thing where her arms go.
That's nasty.
Fuck. I thought the cast was likable. One of my favorite horror characters ever is, and I can't remember his name right now because I've been drinking, but the dude with the great hair with the karate and shit like that. He could have been in Empire Records. You know what I mean?
You know why? Like, you know why that happened? That scene, the Hello Baby guy, that whole karate scene. You know why that happened? Was they ran out of money. That's why he's not in the movie. Like in that scene, Robert Englund's not, and they have to do like the fake thing. They ran out of fucking money.
And you guys are right with the drama rama too. Anything, $100 bills. The soundtrack,
that's the biggest stalker song of all time.
It is.
Yeah.
But the soundtrack was amazing for that. I really liked the cast and crew. I thought they did an amazing job. The pizza thing where Freddy's like stabbing people through the eyes. Gross, I think I think Nightmare on Elm Street 4 is the perfect placeholder between really trying to be scary Freddy and fun Freddy. I think it's the perfect mixture of both. And I just adore that fucking movie, dude. I really loved it. Hate the ending. I do hate the ending. But I love the movie, dude.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those movies. It was the last time that Freddy was Freddy.
Yeah,
like Robert Englund was Freddy. Like I don't have it that high on my list, but I understand why some people love it. But I mean, I feel like it's one of those movies that it's nostalgic as shit, and it's the last time when you watch that movie, it's really the last time you see Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger, as far as how you remember him.
Yeah, I'm with that too, for sure. So okay, we're caught up now, so it's time for your number 10. Now we're in the top 10, folks.
My number 10 is the old pubic crab face himself, Rob Zombie's Halloween is going to crack the top 10. He's going to crack the top 10 because listen, y'all, listen. He did a great job. I mean, we always shit on Rob Zombie for a lot of things, and for good reason. He does smell like he drinks pee. But he did a good job with this movie, and I'll tell you why. If you look at what Rob Zombie did, and again, I give a lot of credit to directors that are able to take franchises that have really been shit on in the past. And in this case, Halloween Resurrection was the last Halloween movie that people had in their mouth. Okay, that was the last wiener that you'd sucked. And let me tell you something, you had herpes. And Rob Zombie came in with a Valtrex treatment. It was a different take on Michael, and I don't like the backstory at all. I think the backstory was garbage juice. I don't like that they wanted to talk about and explore why Michael is Michael. That he came from a shitty stripper mother family with take that damn thing off. He's probably queer. Of course, a kid like that comes from a family like that is probably going to be a fucking serial killer at some point. So it wasn't a mystery, but take away it's weird. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, keep the first 30 minutes and explore that. This one, take away the first 30 minutes of this and then go somewhere else. It's strange. But yes, overall, though, Tyler Mane did incredible with the role of Michael Myers. I think he was a brutal beast. He was a monster. And I never had any problems with him being Michael. The mask was looking good. It was their own flavor. It was their own take. But everything else was on point. And honestly, Malcolm McDowell did a really good job as Dr. Loomis in this. I know that he had said that, he's a pretentious bitch kind of. He was like, I didn't watch Subtle Pleasance because I didn't want to know. I was like, okay, of course, you don't want to know an actor that's better than you. I get that. But
this parakeet's been raped.
He's like, I get what you were saying. But, he did a good job with the character of Dr. Loomis. And again, it revitalized Halloween. And without Rob Zombie's Halloween, I don't think that we were having this conversation with Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills. So
I'm with you, man. It was my number 13, so we're not far off there at all. Breaking in my top 10, we got what's number 10? Okay. I think I'm the first. No, I'm not the first person to mention this. This is actually higher on my list than it was on yours. My number 10 is Halloween 2018. Now, it feels weird when you put Halloween 2018 in your top 10. It feels like when I'm writing that down, I feel people going, oh, you're just a fucking blowhard for fucking Halloween and these new movies, Christopher Nelson, all this stuff like that. But no, here's what you have to understand about Halloween 2018.
I'd blow Christopher Nelson. I mean, not.
No doubt about it. But look at what we had. Again, I go back to the conversation about the 80s and early 90s horror movies. Like, they never seemed to realize what they had. It felt like the onus was almost never on Michael, Freddy, or Jason. It was always on, let's just throw this movie out with this formula. Halloween 2018 may not have been perfect. The Sartain twist may not have been perfect. May not have been great. But look, when you're coming off of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, and the franchise has been dormant. And before that, Resurrection, and the franchise was dormant.
Yeah.
And you come out with this movie, and they take it seriously, and they make it a decent, good film.
Yeah.
And inside of that decent, good film, may not have been perfect, may not have blown people's socks off, but inside of that, you give us a fucking Michael Myers that both has a cool story, is brutal, has a great mask, great kills. The cast is likable. It's not some bullshit thrown together thing. Annie Matichak is a fucking powerhouse, by the way, in her role.
Yeah.
I may not like Jamie Lee Curtis as much as I did in H2O, but she still didn't do a bad job. There's a lot to love about Halloween 2018, and it is the kind of quality slasher sequel. We may have loved these other slasher sequels in the 80s and 90s, but they weren't real quality. There's nostalgic value and stuff in certain parts that are great. A lot of it wrapped up in a bad movie. Halloween 2018 was a decent movie with an amazing Michael Myers, and that's why I have no shame.
Well, Halloween 2018 brought back the thunder, man. It brought back the thunder, and we've been missing that thunder. All we've had is butt crack lightning. But yeah. So exactly. My number 9 is going to be Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Child. And it's definitely deep inside the crack of the top 10.
Dream Warriors is what you were going to say.
Oh, yeah, Dream Warriors. I'm sorry. Dream Child. I'm sorry. You know what happened was that fucking bastard kid from Dream Child was trying to influence my thoughts. That's not going to happen here tonight. It's not going to happen.
Hey, I'm glad Dream Warriors is getting some love.
Dream Warriors don't want to dream no more. Hey, listen. Dream Warriors, man. And the reason why I love that movie so much is because I feel like I really do feel like it was Wes Craven's last hurrah. He came back and wrote the script, and he had a lot more of a fantastical script that they couldn't afford. That's why, like, I guess for some people, like, you don't really get the full flavor that he wanted to do, but he really wanted to explore Freddy's nightmare world, and that was Wes Craven's intention. But the studio was like, man, we ain't trying to make no fucking like Men in Black. This ain't a $200 million movie or whatever. So they were like, ultimately they cut the script and they cut out a lot of stuff. But I like that movie a lot, dude. I think it was really fun to watch. And by the way, it gives birth to, I think, to what people remember Freddy Krueger as, you know. And I'm not saying it's a good thing, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but as far as like Welcome to Primetime Pitch, what you mentioned before, and then the way that Freddy Krueger jokes a lot more in this, and then the weird skeleton thing that pops up when they try to fucking put the holy water on, he's like, ah. It's kind of weird, but I gotta be honest with you, I loved the fact that these kids in the psychiatric hospital embrace their dreams, and they're trying to be like, in your dreams you're like whatever you want to be, and they're like, yeah, I'm bad and I'm beautiful and all that shit. But then Freddy's like, fuck that. There's one scene though, you're talking about, oh, it's kind of dorky, but that kid that plays Dungeons and Dragons, he was like, I'm the wizard master, and he runs at him, and then he was like, and he's like, sorry kid, I don't believe in fairy tales. I'm like, that's badass, and you should be Wolverine right now, Robert Englund, because that was cool as shit. And then also, you know, Tori, I think's her name, when she said, I'm bad and beautiful. He's like, let's get high. That was fucking scary, dude. When he has like fucking 10 fingers full of heroin, and he's like, yeah. I thought they did a great job with what they had, because again, you're coming off. I think that Nightmare 1 and Nightmare 2 were so phenomenally well done. It was hard to do something, and then Wes Craven himself comes back and writes that script. He didn't direct it, no, but I think they did a phenomenal job moving that series forward, and I love that movie. I think that movie did not only produce what we know in the world as Freddy Krueger necessary. I mean, that is the starting point, the progenitor Freddy Krueger, as what people know of Freddy Krueger, but it had a great soundtrack too on top of it. So
they have a great soundtrack. Hey man, this is where we piss people off again. Are you ready?
Mhm.
Halloween 6 is my number 9. This is
No,
more
I applaud you for your courage.
this is
She's
more
brave and beautiful, isn't she? Ladies and gentlemen, she is brave and beautiful.
this is more of a personal opinion than it is I'm saying this movie's more quality. The movie has a billion problems with it, okay? A billion. Like I get it. The editing, the producer's cut, all this shit, craziness. But once again, I go back to the same thing. Michael Myers. Dude, after Halloween, this comes after Halloween 5. This Jean-Luc Godard fucking French dude comes in here and just takes a hot dump on the franchise and goes, I bring out Men in Black, you figured fuck out. You know, like all this shit like that. Halloween 6 is cursed with dealing with all of these storylines. And should they have brought back Danielle Harris? Yes. Did they fuck that part up? Yes. Is the Cult of Thorn kind of stupid? Yes. But at the end of the day, it's about fucking Michael and how you handle Michael. And the fucking mask is one of the best, scariest masks in the entire franchise.
Yeah.
Michael is more brutal than anything other than Rob Zombie's Halloweens and maybe Halloween Kills. But he up to this point, this is the most brutal Michael we've ever gotten.
Yeah.
You got the asshole stepdad. That
you
whole
never seen it before.
You've
never seen that.
Yeah, the crazy wild fucking strobe scene where he kills all those doctors. This movie,
the operating room scene.
Yeah, it did some crazy M. Night Shyamalan shit with it. It took a fucking swing, and Michael's badass. This spike kill alone, where he puts the nurse on the fucking spike. Holy shit, are you kidding me? It made Michael scary again after that bullshit, weird shit we got in 5. I know that people hate this movie, but it's
so weird. I don't know why though. I never understood why.
It's you and I's both most rented Halloween film of our youth. We rented this a billion times. I love the look. I love the cover. I love so much about this movie. And I know that as a movie, it kind of sucks. But as a Michael Myers film, it's one of my fucking favorites.
Dude,
and I have no
agree.
shame at making it number 9.
No, I don't have any problems with you being that being in the top 10. I struggled with that myself. I wanted to put it higher, but then,
it's hard.
There was a lot of other movies coming before. But dude, yeah, Halloween 6, man, holy shit. As far as movies that I enjoy, I could watch that movie every fucking day of the week and never get bored.
And
never
Paul
get
Rudd,
bored.
by the way. Paul Rudd, too. Paul fucking Rudd.
You know? Paul Rudd is, he was people's sexiest man.
Yeah.
But, okay,
and
so
Loomis,
my number.
Loomis' his last fucking Halloween film.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, my number 8, and again, he is in the top 10, y'all. We in the top 10. He cracked number 8, so he said, fuck your top 10. I got to get in there. That's what he said in my brain. It's going to be Jason from Friday the 13th Remake.
Okay, Friday the 13th reboot. Okay.
I think that next to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, it's the best remake I've ever seen of these iconic series, these iconic movies ever. I like the fact, yes, you're right. And Mike explained it a little bit earlier. The beginning is so brutal. It's so like in your face. It feels, it has a stranger's vibe to it. Like it's just so mean. It's just like fuck you. Like, and I like that. Yeah. But then they did one better, and they made Jason not necessarily supernatural yet. He lives off the land. Like he's like a hillbilly that lives off the land. You know, he understands how that works. He's an outdoorsman kind of guy. I thought that was brilliant. I was like, hey, how do you bring Jason to the 21st century audience, I guess now, but the 20th century audience back then, yeah, we'll not make him supernatural because everyone's going to say it's like, oh, that's too easy. You know, he's just a monster ghost Jason that just, you know, I loved the fact that he was like, I'm just protecting my land. And he's this big fucking monstrous dude. Derek Mears is this big dude that just knows how to use the land to his advantage. And he's got all these booby traps and he's got all these like fucking tunnels that he's dug. Dude, I thought that was brilliant. I'm like, that, and that makes sense. It's like, well, how does Jason seemingly supernaturally appear before, you know, because he has tunnels fucking dug, bitch. He's been expecting you to invade him.
That bitch been digging. He's been calling 411.
But you know, I think the worst, the way he finds his mask is kind of like, you know, it's kind of cheesy. But dude, overall, I think that if you're gonna reinvent a character, that really has been shit on for quite a while, that's how you do it. And I think that Friday the 13th, the reboot, did it the best as far as recreating an iconic, legendary character such as Jason. So.
I ain't mad at it, dude.
Yeah,
I
it's
ain't
in my
mad
top
at it.
10. It's all right.
I ain't mad at it a goddamn bit. A goddamn bit. You might be mad at this though. Hey, wait a minute. I don't know. Wait a fucking second. You haven't fucking mentioned this yet. Are you fucking shitting me right now?
What?
Am I about to put a fucking? I won't say because I don't want to give away any spoilers. But my number 8, Scream 2.
Dude.
My
Holy shit.
yeah,
Go ahead.
my number 8, Scream 2, because look, my favorite horror soundtrack of all time, not score, but soundtrack. All right, with the "This could be your lucky day in hell," like the whole soundtrack's fucking amazing for Scream 2. The vibes of it were great. I love Jerry O'Connell was great with the whole I think I love you. So what am I so like? It wasn't Scream 1 by any means, but it's sharp.
It's a decent follow up.
Yeah, and I love they kept the meta thing going at the perfect angle with the college class that we're all talking about the best sequels.
Was that the one? Jada Pinkett was in that, right?
Jada Pinkett was in that. One of the best Scream openings, second to only the original, with the Jada like killing her in the middle of that.
I wish that had happened in real life. Oh, I mean, I didn't mean that.
In the middle, an amazing opening, an amazing. Who would have thought they would carry Scream 2, the legacy on this way? Yeah. They added actors to it. The way they brought Cotton Weary back, the intrigue of the entire thing. I've never been a fan of the 2-killer reveal, but fucking Timothy Olyphant is forever underrated as Mickey. As the killer at the end. This was an early Timothy Olyphant, and he really went for it and chewed the scenery.
He did
went
great,
kind of crazy. A fucking just a fun rock and roll fucking perfect epitome of its time. Amazing sequel. I love Scream 2. That's my number 8.
Yeah, man. No, I give it to you. And I don't have one bad thing to say. It's like the ending of Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. We have nothing bad to say. Like there's a flash of Rolling Stone. It's like we have nothing bad to say. Like I don't have anything bad to say. That's that. Yeah, you surmised it. You did it. So my number 7 is going to be Scream 2.
Yes, you ranked it higher than I did. You fucking
I did. No, because
God.
I think that they did a really good job with the sequel. I I love it because I know that people think I hate fucking Scream, and I'm trying to tell you I don't hate Scream. I just think they should have ended it with Scream 2. I think, of course, Scream 2 was a good movie. I think that it had flaws for sure, but what movie doesn't? And it was never going to live up to what Scream 1 did. Never. But Timothy Olyphant as the killer was great. I hated fucking Jackie from Roseanne being the killer. I thought that was goddamn dumb.
Yeah.
But other than that, I enjoyed the movie. I was like, hey man, this makes sense. She goes to college. Of course it makes sense that a fucking copycat killer would try to do something to her, and then there's a tie-in back to the first one. Yeah, I thought they did a good job. I really did. And then now I'm like, all right, now stop. And then they're like, nah, fuck that.
Like
we got other plans, dog. I gotta go pee real bad though.
Okay, go pee, and I'll continue on.
All right,
you're good. As we get higher in the list, I'm shocked Jay had a Scream movie higher than I did. Hell hath frozen over, and Apollo has lifted her skirt. Rub-a-dub-dub. But yeah, I agree with you guys that Mickey should have been in it a little bit more, but maybe that would have given it away a little bit. My number 7 is going to be Jay's number 7 was Scream 2, which just shocks the shit tits out of me. My number 7, and this was close. My number 7, and notice Jay hasn't picked this yet either, I don't believe. I just hang on one second here. Yeah.
No.
Sorry. Will you guys? I don't know where I was going with that. My number 7 is Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Part 2. I have no problem with this. Because the movie is underrated as a whole. This was a weird fucking out there. Almost nobody in the Nightmare on Elm Street universe wants to acknowledge how good Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 was. It was fucking one of the scariest Nightmare on Elm Street movies, okay? The fucking pool party alone, the practical effects, the whole shit going on with that. Grady, that entire goddamn story was great. You had a guy, final girl, you had a final girl. You had this amazing story that was going on with that. And Freddy, to me, was scarier than he was in almost any movie apart from the original in that. A really cool original story. And though they hated it, though they didn't like that he changed the rules, the new director changed the rules and just switched it up. And there was some crazy shit with the dogs and whatnot, and Freddy's powers, how he's trying to possess. I understand that. But it was like Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, if he actually made it into a film and wasn't just trying to impress sixth graders lighting firecrackers in their assholes. He switched it up. He made it more demonic. He made it scarier. He made it just grittier. And I love A Nightmare on Elm Street 2. It's my second favorite. And Orlando, I fucking love that it was kind of gay. I think that's a fucking positive thing. I don't think that's a negative thing about it at all. At that time in horror movies, to do what they did with that should be fucking respected. And yeah, I love A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. I think it's one of the most underrated horror movies of all time, and that's why it's my number 7. So, and I don't think Jay's mentioned it either yet, so it's going to be pretty high on his list. But while he's still peeing in the toilet, I'm going to say that my number 6 is going to be. Thank you, baby.
You're welcome.
Love you.
Love you, night.
Night. My number 6 is going to be Friday the 13th. Part 6, Jason Lives. This is way higher on Jay's list, way more up there. I understand that, but to me, it's the second best Friday the 13th film. It was. I thought the guy. I actually love the guy who came back to play. Maybe I'm drunk. Thom Matthews. I actually love Thom Matthews' character in this. I thought he crushed that role. I thought he brought a character that, since Corey Feldman had done it, and they try to do it again in A New Beginning, I thought it was kind of boring and like, I'm just weird and fucked up and shit's crazy. This guy added some fun to it. He was kind of an action movie character in a role. And then they took the movie and they made it funny. But they not only made it funny, but it was like one of the most well-made Jason films. Like, if you look at the Jason films, even the ones we like, they were like, it's a horror movie, slap $20 on it. Fucking, I can take a shit in a box, market guaranteed. I will. I have spare time. And sometimes it just worked out because the whole Jason idea is pretty cool. This was a well-made movie, and it was smart, and the comedy was smart, and the kills were smart, and it worked out really fucking well. So I just thought that this was one of the most entertaining and best made fucking Jason films out there. Cinematically, this may be the best Jason film of the later ones for sure. I fucking love Jason Lives. It's funny. It's got cool Jason. He's got that tight fucking butt. It's got amazing kills in it. And imagine if the MPAA didn't fuck him over with the kills. Jason Lives to me is like a total fucking package. It's like Shaun of the Dead meets The Final Chapter. Maybe not as good as either of them, but a mix between the two, and kind of just a badass rock and roll fucking horror movie with a lot of good jokes in it. I love Jason Lives. So number 5, I'll just keep rolling right the fuck along. I will. I'll do it. I swear to God, I will. Don't you fucking question me, boy. I swear to God. This one's going to be weird for some people, and other people are going to understand it completely. My number 5 favorite Halloween, Scream, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street movie of all time, number 5 is Halloween fucking 4. Hear me out. Halloween 4 is a movie that if you simply go into that fucking movie and you deep fake Michael Myers' mask and maybe the shoulder pads and fucking gangly shit Michael Myers does. If you deep fake that movie, you have maybe the second best fucking on this entire list. Like, they fucked up Michael's mask. They fucked up Michael's mask. They fucked up kind of the way he moves. And George P. Wilbur seems like one of the sweetest people of all time. And I love that guy. But Michael alone, and we've talked about this, get Michael right, you're okay. This is a movie that had everything right about Halloween. The fucking atmosphere, the feeling of Halloween, the coolness. Fucking Loomis was.
You talking about Halloween 4?
Yeah. Loomis was fucking killing shit. This is Loomis's fucking Oscar. Running shit. The amazing gas station scene. All that shit. And then you had Danielle Harris fucking killing shit as Jamie Lloyd. This is a perfect Halloween film. It is, except for Michael Myers. That was the only problem with the goddamn movie, and then that ending. Let's not make Jamie Lloyd Michael Myers. But apart from Michael Myers' look and the way he moved, the rooftop scene was cool. This was a perfect Halloween film if you just fix that one aspect. And that's why it's number 5 for me. The greatest Halloween atmosphere of any movie of all time.
Yeah.
Fight me. I don't care.
Yeah. I agrees with you, dog.
Yeah.
That's a yes for me, dog.
Tell it on the
I
mountain.
mean, you're not gonna not get Reddy Jackson's autograph on a katana sword at the
No
airport.
way.
You're just
No
not
way.
gonna not do that.
No way a telephone just rings.
What's
at
the
police
pup's
station.
name?
No
The
way,
pup
no
is
how.
unnamed because you can't put a name on a pup like that. Yeah, dude, I agree. No, so my number 6 is going to be Halloween 4, which we've been talking
Hey!
about it. And yeah, for all the same reasons. It's the perfect Halloween movie in a lot of ways. It really is. It encapsulates the fall season, right? And then you have Michael Myers coming back from an absence that was deeply felt for years, because of you have Halloween 2 was the last time you saw him. 1981 was the last time you saw Michael Myers.
Yep.
And then he comes back full force with his cock out and he says, I don't care who sees it. And guess what? I'm back and I'm going to fuck shit up. The worst thing is, you're right. The mask. The mask looks like Data from Star Trek The Next Generation. I will never not say that's true, because it does. He looks like a fucking android. He looks like Elon Musk trying to take over the world, which is fine.
He does.
You know, it's fine.
That's true.
It's fine.
He
I don't.
does.
I like Elon Musk, but it is what it is. And the knees thing worked. The angle worked. Everything worked about that movie except for the mask. If they had, and you're right, if they had done a deep fake on the mask, if they go back and remake that fucking movie, and they do it correct, they bring the mask that they promised on the poster. By the way, the poster for Halloween 4 has the original mask. I have it over here on the wall. You guys can't see it, but it's the original OG mask from Halloween 1. And it says, you know, the return of Michael Myers. And you're like, oh, dude, that's dope as shit.
Yeah.
I can only imagine as a moviegoer back in those days, like, dude, I'm going to see Michael Myers again from 1978. And then you have this fucking, what the shit is that? Did Michael Myers get anorexia? What the shit happened? But otherwise, the movie itself is well told. It's amazing. It's got a great soundtrack. It's got a great atmosphere. It puts you in the moment. It puts you in the Halloween season.
That
So-
opening too, with the thumb through the
Dude,
fucking
everything
head.
about everything is about, it's so good. It's so good. And then
Dude, when they start wheeling him out to the ambulance, like do.
yeah, and then when they're going down the elevator, he's like, God's got nothing to do with this place. Like, dude, they set it up so fucking well. Like the whole thing just set up so well. So yes, Halloween 4 for a reason. I understand why it cracks the top 5 for you, but it's almost there for me. So my number 5 is going to be Friday the 13th, the final chapter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we gotta bring this up. All right. Look, dude, it's a great goddamn movie. You got Crispin Glover, a corkscrew. Where's the corkscrew? A dead fuck. You have that. You have Corey Feldman. You know what? You know what? To me, it felt like. I feel like if they had ended the movie here, it would have been fine. Like I really do. I feel like the Friday the 13th franchise could have ended there, and it was really good. You have one of the main guys from the Goonies taking on Jason Voorhees and winning. Yeah. I think it was a really cool, unique way in how they did the movie, and they had a great, amazing cast. A dead fuck. It was funny. It was funny when it needed to be funny, and then it had some great, spectacular effects on it. You had the weird moment where Tommy shaves his head, and then that whole thing happens, and then you have a fucking gnarly death scene with Jason. Dude,
when he slides down that.
But it's so 80s. It's so 80s. The movie is so 80s, but it's so badass at the same time. It's not like so 80s where it's like it's cheesy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's the right amount of cheese with the right amount of grilled cheese. It just works. It just works. And man, when I love that movie. When you get in the mood to watch like certain horror movies or certain movies from the past, specifically the 80s movies, the final chapter for me is like I could watch that movie right after I watched like something like Monster Squad or The Goonies. And it just fits. It just fits right in. Yeah. I love that movie, dude. I love that movie, and that's why it's in the top 5 for me.
I might as well just go ahead and say this: that my number 4 is going to be Friday the 13th, the final chapter. Mm-hmm. Not exactly in the same spot as you, but for the exact same reasons, dude. This felt like a fucking this felt like an Avengers event. You know,
yeah, it did.
Shit came together in this movie, and it finally happened. Like you got the original, which is the original idea. You got Baghead, then he gets his mask for the first time, and then Friday 4 is like the epitome of a perfect Jason film. You got this, like you said, everything about Kristen Glover and all them like that, and Teddy, that whole fucking thing.
Yeah, they're watching porn downstairs on a projection screen. You know, that reminds me of a good friend, Garrett, that we know and love, that would be doing that.
Amazing kills, an actual good story to go along with it. Jason looked fucking badass, and then finally an ending that was tense and palpable. And Corey Feldman's character smashing pumpkins and all. The world is a vampire. And then when Jason's head slid down that fucking machete,
that was so
dude,
gnarly.
oh my god,
yeah, so fucking gnarly. Oh, that's so gnarly. It reminds me of Jonah Hill. That's so gnarly.
My favorite Friday the 13th film.
It's really it really is. The final chapter is so goddamn incredible. It really is.
Yeah.
And it's weird, like, you know, it's so high on our list. You're like, oh, the fourth movie is in your top 5, but it is what it is.
That's pretty cool. Hey, 4 movies have a pretty good track record. Nightmare on Elm Street 4 is pretty good. Friday the 13th 4 is the best one.
Oh,
Halloween
Indiana
4,
Jones,
not the best one. Oh shit, man.
That's a bad
Lethal Weapon 4 was dope though. Anyways, all right, what's your number 4?
Oh, my number 4 is going to be Scream 1, 1996, Scream 1. Okay, well, you know what, and again, I don't need to go into the details about why this movie is so phenomenal and why it does such a a crack up job of bringing back the horror genre to the forefront of the public's attention, because to me, it's the Nirvana of horror movies, right? It's like the Pearl Jam of horror movies. It did something different, and it broke the standard tropes, I guess, in a lot of ways that everybody had expected when they go see a horror movie. Up to that point, they expected this type of regular Jason, Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger type of like serial killer. And what Scream did was, Scream was like, what if people were so obsessed with a horror movie?
God was one of us.
Yeah, and Joan Osborne comes in and she sings her life out. But no, it's like it does something so different and new that you never seen it before, like Nirvana and Pearl Jam did. I know that Nirvana broke the mold, but Pearl Jam was doing it too. But Nirvana broke the mold in a way that it showcased a different side of the genre that you'd never seen before. It was like, all right, what if we take these people that are so obsessed with horror movies and we make those those are the main guys, and then they're the killers because they're so obsessed. It's fucking crazy. And you're like, and you would think, right? Like now you're like, we should have come up with that. Like people should have come up with that a long time ago, but nobody was thinking that. And so what Wes Craven did, he literally alone, this motherfucker was like goddamn Willy Wonka of the Chocolate Factory, revitalized the whole horror genre. He did, because at that point, let's be honest, it was stagnant. Nothing else was coming out. Like everybody else already knew. Like again, if you go see a slasher film, you already know what you're gonna get. You know it's gonna be Jason. Like I said, you know what's gonna happen, kind of, or generally what's gonna happen with Michael Myers. But this one was the first movie that you watched, and you were like, man, I don't know. Like what Wes Craven did was he combined Alfred Hitchcockian type of storytelling with like a more upbeat 90s version to it. Yeah. And that's what killed it at the box office.
Yeah. Yeah. Well fucking said, dude. Well fucking said. Couldn't say it better myself, to be honest with you. Couldn't do it. My number 3. My number 3 is going to be A Nightmare on Elm Street. Nightmare on Elm Street, the original Nightmare on Elm Street. Okay, I like it. We're gonna have some of the same thing.
No, I know. We're gonna, we're down there in the nitty gritties.
We're getting in that territory now.
We're touching each other's butts in a dark orgy, and we don't know.
Yes, sir, we are.
We're like, I thought that was a girl's vagina. I didn't know.
Yes, sir, we are. Hey, the reason Nightmare on Elm Street is so high on my list is because Freddy, to me, if you go back and like, and we're gonna talk about this tonight a little bit, trust me. But like when you go back and you look at like, I wasn't around when Halloween came out, right? Like neither of us were. Yeah. But Halloween started something. You've changed things. The fire rises. It changed things. But if you come into these late, like
that was Mustafa Akkad that told that to John Carpenter. You've changed things.
we've come into these things late. Like we were born and learned about movies after Nightmare on Elm Street was out. The first time I watched a Nightmare on Elm Street movie, it was the third one, not the first one.
Yeah.
And Michael the same way, Jason the same way. A Nightmare on Elm Street to me is so high on this fucking list because it is the scariest idea of all of these. Scream changed things because it was high schoolers. It could really happen. It wasn't supernatural. Jason with the camping thing. Michael was the original one. But Freddy Krueger is such an original idea. You can't escape a dream. You're in a dream and he controls everything. And it's the scariest fucking thing you can imagine. To me, Wes Craven with the idea, even though it's number 3 and not number 1 on my list, Wes Craven with the idea of Freddy Krueger and the dream thing is the scariest horror idea to me of any horror idea that has ever fucking happened.
Definitely. I agree.
That was a stroke of fucking genius. And that's why Wes Craven's Wes Craven. Nightmare on Elm Street, man. That low budget they had, they were fucking skimming by. This was like a last chance scenario for them, and they pulled it off. It's one of the best horror films of all. It may be the number 3 best horror film of all time. Forget this franchise, you know. So yeah, number 3.
No, I agree. No, Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one, dude, it was so different. It was so new. It came out in 1984. That's when I was born. It has no bearing though. I mean, I was born that year, but I mean, I remember that was the first movie I ever watched. That was the very first horror movie I was 7 years old.
Yeah.
And I rented that movie, and that's what got me into horror movies. I guess that's what introduced me to this, this legendary, iconic cast of Michael Myers, Leatherface, Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers. Freddy Krueger was what did it for me, and I think that Freddy Krueger, yeah, you're right. It's the most out of all of them. It's the most unique because he was the first serial killer, the first villain in horror movies that talked to you, that told you exactly what was going to happen to you. I mean, I know they did Pinhead later, and Pinhead did it in a much more sinister way, but Freddy Krueger was an actual, like, he wasn't a beast. He wasn't a monster necessarily. I mean, he was a monster for what he had done, but he could talk to you and tell you exactly why he's going to fuck you up, and then make you even more scared because he's talking to you. Like, if a big giant fucking freak monster like Jason or Michael's walking towards you, you know your ass is done, right? He doesn't need to say anything. It's even scarier to think that this guy is like in your dreams and he's going to talk to you, be like, "Hey, you like that sexy girl? I bet you wish you could go back and suck on them titties. Well, now you're gonna be sucking on Death's dick."
Hey, there ain't no escape and sleep, dude. That's what makes it so fucking scary.
And the fact that it was based on real life, that Wes Craven picked it up from was South Korean kid or something in California. That, like, all that scene with Nancy having Mr. Coffee in her closet, that shit was in the papers. That was shit that was really going on. Yeah. That's fucking crazy. And that scares the shit out of me. And that's why I killed my fish. They were when I was a youngster, my fish sang 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you, and I killed him with a bottle of cologne. Anyway.
All right. Hey, you go on with your number 3. First, I want to hear what your number 3 is, but then I'm gonna pop out and pee real quick, and you just keep going until I get back. But what is your number 3?
My number 3 is gonna be A Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
Oh, I forgot you hadn't mentioned that yet. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So hang on. All right, and I'll be right back.
All right. So A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 is my third favorite of all of these fantastical movies, by the way, in their own regard. Just because I feel like what they did with Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 is that they took the Freddy origin story, they flipped it a little bit, and they made it something totally unique, something totally different that we hadn't seen before, which I thought was pretty cool. And Freddy looked the best, I think, out of all of the makeup and the special effects on Freddy. I feel like Nightmare 2 nailed it. They made him look like a very witch-like type of character, and I think they killed it. He was very much sinister, manipulative, pedophilic in some way. I definitely think with Jesse, and I think that they encapsulated what Wes Craven wanted to do with Freddy Krueger, but he wasn't maybe allowed to do. And to me, Nightmare 2 is, dude, it's such a phenomenal movie. It really is. It really is a good movie. I didn't used to think so either when I was younger. I always thought that Nightmare 2 was kind of weak sauce, and I never thought it was it didn't live up to what Nightmare 1 was, but that was because I didn't realize that the director of Nightmare 2 really didn't want to follow what Wes Craven had presented with Nightmare 1. The director of Nightmare 2 figured, hey, you know what? Wes Craven had a really good idea with Nightmare 1, but what I want to do is take what he did and make it more I can't say palatable. How do you say that, baby? Palatable. Yeah, there's a lot of drink in my mouth, but palatable and for the audience to absorb. And I think he did a great job with doing that. The director of Nightmare 2. I think overall Freddy is scarier in the second one. I think they showcase not only the fact that he is a monster, which he is. He's a very much a creature feature. Frankenstein, Dracula, Creature from the Black Lagoon, what we remember from the Universal monsters from the past, but he has the injection of having a much more modern day Ted Bundy type of serial killer personality about him, and I think they did that very well. I think that one of the best scenes in all of horror cinema is when Freddy Krueger is standing there at the pool in Nightmare 2, and he holds his arms up and he's like, "You're all my children now," and the flames coming up behind him. I think that is fucking some of the best shit I've ever seen on film, period. To this day, I think it's some of the scariest shit I've ever seen, and it's the most well shot shit I've ever seen. So that's why Nightmare 2 for me is number 3. I think that Nightmare 2 is criminally underrated. I think that no one gives the credit that it deserves, and I think that like you know, I think that a lot of people would agree that in some way Nightmare 2 might be better than Nightmare 1. So I'm still on Nightmare 2. I was just explaining why I thought it was so high on the list. But yeah.
Okay. Well, you go ahead. You go ahead with your number 2.
Okay, so my number 2. Now, this is where our butt cheeks clench and we're trying to hold a fart in. And we're like, what's going to happen? Is The Rock going to win or is Stone Cold? I don't know. I don't know. It's all been building up to this moment right here. And that's why next time on Patreon, we'll let you know.
See you guys on the run.
No, I'm fucking kidding with you guys. I know. You gotta have fun, right? So my number 2 is gonna be Halloween 78.
Oh wow! Oh no! You don't do that to me. You don't say that.
Yeah, I gotta go with
that.
Halloween 78.
You don't say that.
I gotta go with Halloween 78.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and I know. I gotta be true to my feelings. I gotta be true to who I am. All right, and the reality of it is, like, Halloween 78 is literally, I think it's mostly maybe all the way through a nearly perfect movie from the beginning to the end. Right? You got Dr. Loomis, which is obviously the Sherlock Holmes of the story, hunting down a monster, which is, you know, maybe like Dracula or something like that, and then you have. Like, it's amazing, right? Like, it doesn't really stop being amazing. Stop laughing, bitch.
No, I'm
because I know you're looking at comments.
No, I'm not looking at comments. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. I'm laughing for my own reasons.
But I know it unfolds in a seamless way, and it obviously is one of the best put together horror movies of all time. It was a low budget movie. John Carpenter did, you know, such a fantastic knock-up job with what he had, and it became iconic, right? And there's nothing like watching, you know, the birth of a hero in a lot of people's Michael Myers, like, you know, the very end of the movie when he is gone from the grassy knoll after Loomis like fucking pumps like 6 shots into him, and you hear that music and you're like, oh dude, I don't even know what I'm in for anymore. Like, they do such a great job, and there's nothing wrong with the way the movie's put together at all. But the reason why it's number 2 for me is there's another movie that I just feel is more original, that does something different.
Go with it. Go on with it. Finish the list, dude. Finish the fucking list.
Okay, so my number 1 is gonna be A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 1. Yeah, that's my number 1. No.
No, I was gonna fuck with you. I was gonna be like, it's A Nightmare on Elm Street 7.
No. A Nightmare on Elm
yeah.
Street Part 1 is my number one. And again, I've already explained, like, it has a lot of nostalgic flavors for me because it was the first horror movie that I ever watched when I was a kid. I was literally, like I said, 7 or 8 years old when I watched it. And then as I got older and I watched that film, there had never been, it came out in 1984. There had never been another character like that. There had never been another serial killer horror icon like that. If you look back at Michael Myers, if you look back at Jason Voorhees, they're all kind of a copy of each other in some way, right? I mean, some do it better than others. But if you even look at Michael Myers, and he was the first, 1978. But if you go back to Black Christmas, if you go back to Psycho, they all were like in masks, and they were all like, you know, doing a stalking type of thing, and they were like hunting down the victim, and they were killing people. Mike said it right. In the Nightmare on Elm Street, it scared the fuck out of me because it was the first time it actually like breached my protective bubble. This motherfucker can get you in your sleep. He can get you in your dreams. Like, it's not even enough that, yes, Michael Myers is terrifying and Jason is terrifying, but as long as I stay away from fucking lakes that rhyme with crystal and I stay away from Haddonfield, I don't have to worry about it. But if you go to fucking, like, if you even are around Illinois or whatever, Freddy Krueger can literally go anywhere globally because he can access dreams. He can literally fucking kill you in your sleep. That scared the shit out of me. And he's a burn up fucking wiener. Yes, he looks weird, but dude, he's scary as shit. Like, he's scary because of the fact that two things: he can invade your most private thoughts. When you're sleeping, it's the most private you have in the world, right? When you're sleeping and no one has access to that, he can invade that. And two, he tells you what he's going to do, what he is there for. And he has a sick type of sadistic way he explains to you why he's going to fuck you up. So, I mean, I don't know. That's why Nightmare on Elm Street, to me, like, I feel like it's the best of all of them because it was truly the most original of all of them.
Yeah. No, I'm not surprised. I know a lot of people are surprised. I'm not surprised. You've always loved fucking Nightmare on Elm Street. That's always been your thing. Like, so I'm not surprised at all, man. And well done. And hey, Charles Fish with a $50 super chat.
Hey, thank you, Charles
Fish. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, fucking buddy. We've reached the end. Jay's number 1 is The Nightmare on Elm Street. His number 2 is Halloween 1978. His number 3 is The Nightmare on Elm Street 2. So it is, I guess, my time to
bring your son into the light. Let us see if he is worthy of the crown.
To put this in here. And you know, here's the thing. When we say we're going to make this list and we know it's going to upset people, you know, just like I think a lot of people expect you to have Halloween as your number 1, right?
Yeah, I knew people would.
We know,
and I wanted to, but I'm like, yeah, it would disappoint.
But you got to stay true to yourself.
I got to be true.
And so, no disrespect to you. I mean, I feel like mine's going to be chalk, and everybody's going to expect what's going to happen. But you know, for me, my number 2 is going to be Halloween 1978 as well, Jay. That is my number 2 film.
That's so fucking crazy, dude. Holy shit.
That's going to be my number 2 as fucking well. And I'm sorry because I might as well just go ahead and put number 1 fucking Scream. I know what this
I
is
knew you were
going
to go there.
I knew that you were going to go Nightmare on Elm Street. This is going to...
That's all right.
I
That's
feel
all
like
right.
fucking Vince
I like this. But at the same time,
like
I don't.
McMahon just pull the fucking surprise on fucking everybody. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, that Screams music. That's Red Right Hand.
It's like we were having a giant party and the mic came out. I was like, I like to suck cock.
I know.
I knew it.
Hear me out. Everybody knows I love cock, but yeah, Delay of the surprise, Sydney.
Yeah, it was very much a surprise, sir.
I know. Listen to me.
Roger Jackson would be disappointed in that.
Let me say right fucking now, though, the Halloween franchise is unequivocally my favorite fucking franchise in horror. It's my favorite franchise. No, it's Halloween's my favorite franchise in all of movies. It is, and it's the number 1 thing we do with this channel. I understand it's not bullshit. It's
mine too, but I mean, but you have your favorites like I do.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, Scream was my time, though. You understand? Like, I walked into Halloween. I probably saw Halloween 4 before I even saw 1978. And I respect more than you'll ever know what 1978 did. These fucking ragtag kids went in and just made this fucking movie. And they brought the world to its fucking knees with how scared they were of this dude with this white face popping up out of nowhere attacking babysitters. But you know what? Scream did the same fucking thing, man. And Scream was something I saw in my time. I went to the theaters and saw Scream. I wasn't in the theater for 1978 Halloween. I didn't see that take place. I probably saw Halloween 4 first, but Scream, I was in the fucking theater. Horror was dead. It's fucking dead. There was no fucking horror. There was nothing. You go to the movies and you watch Scream and you go to school the next day and everybody's fucking talking about it. Everybody's freaking out about it. And I just got to look at it and I got to say, like, I know the right answer is Halloween here. Like, I know that's what I'm supposed to say.
No,
like,
I mean,
I'm sure you felt
like we have the same. We had little. Dude, it's fucking crazy. We wrote this list apart. We didn't even talk to each other about our list.
No,
I mean, I swear to God, hand on my mom's grave, dude.
No,
we never talked about this list ever. And the fact that we both have Halloween 78 at number 2 is fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy.
I know it's wild, dude. And I kind of expected you to have Nightmare, but I wasn't sure. But like, you know,
well, I definitely was gonna have Scream 1.
No, I know you weren't. Yeah,
I already named it earlier, but
dude, if I'm just looking at me as a human being, like, what have I watched more? I've just simply, to be honest with you, I've watched Scream more times.
Yeah,
it saved horror. Horror was fucking dead.
No, I get that. Yeah.
Dead. Michael Myers is dead. Scream saved it, and it didn't just save it, but it made it a rewatchable movie. It's got all these different aspects to it. It's got a great killer in it. You guys know fucking Scream.
Dude, I agree, dude. Ghostface was the last time you saw an iconic killer. Like, to be honest, like, it was the last time you really saw an iconic killer, except for maybe Jeepers Creepers.
And look, Halloween, to me, Michael Myers versus Ghostface, it's Michael Myers. Halloween franchise versus Scream, it's the Halloween franchise.
Yeah.
But just movies that have meant the most to me as a human being, when I got that Scream VHS under the Christmas tree, it was new. Like, that was a new fucking movie that just came out. And I watched, you know, when I saw it in theaters and everybody's talking about it, for me, it's just Scream, man. I've watched it more times probably than I've watched Halloween. It had the advantage of coming later and being made in a time where slashers already existed. Halloween is a more important movie to horror than Scream is, I think. I think that's a fair thing to say. Halloween brought it out of fucking nowhere. Yeah, you had Peeping Tom and you had Black Christmas, but Halloween definitely more important to horror because it brought this whole mass killer. But Scream.
I want to point out, because I'm going to defend you because I don't know what people are saying, because my shit's not working. My comment section's not working anymore, so I can't see. But I will say that Scream was, it's lower on my list. It's number, I don't know, it's number 4.
Yeah.
But it was one of those movies that were influential in what we have today. And it did. I mean, you are correcto, Meseto, that says that it saved the horror franchise, because without that movie, and let's all be honest, let's all just take a moment to breathe, put your head down between your knees, and
no one's threatened to kill us yet. No one has. I've not got
just have a moment to breathe in your own nutsack and think. It did save. It did save the horror franchise in a lot of ways, because I was born in 84. Mike was born in 85. That movie came out in 1994.
96.
Right?
96.
That's what I said. 1996. Yeah, and we were of age. Like, Mike and I were born in the 80s, but we definitely grew up in the 90s. We're 90s kids. But at that point, when you grew up with horror movies, I saw Nightmare on Elm Street when I was 7. And I remember that things were going south. And Scream was one of those movies that came up and was like, hey, you know what? The horror franchise is not dead. Let me do something different here. And that's what it did. So I get it. I mean, I get it. It's like ranking your favorite bands. Like, what's the most influential band of the 1990s you could rank? A lot of people are going to put Nirvana at their number 1.
Yeah.
I mean, can you guys tell me, seriously, the most influential band, the one band that changed the face of rock music, would it not be Nirvana in the 90s? Maybe.
Yeah, Beatles, then the Nirvana, basically.
Well,
Scott, gotta have them.
I'm just saying
Yeah.
in the 90s, like
Yeah.
just in the 90s.
Yeah, Elvis, the Beatles, Nirvana, but I mean but in the
Yeah,
90s,
yeah.
absolutely. So yeah, dude. I mean,
This was fucking fun, dude. I loved it.
I
I
had a
loved
goddamn
this
blasty
shit. I thought
blast
it was
in this
fucking
bitch.
awesome.
I had a fucking awesome time. We should I don't know how many times we could do the same thing, but we should do something like this.
No,
next
like
time we
let's
get, for
do
sure.
let's do the next time. Let's do like non iconic movie. Like let's do like 13 Ghosts. Like I was talking about Ghost Ship. House on Hill,
Just
The Haunting.
maybe 90s, 2000s.
I don't know.
something.
I don't know how you.
Yeah.
I don't know how you title that. By the way, I already know that people are gonna be like, well, you left out Child's Play, you left out Leatherface, you left out Hellraiser, you left out Puppet Master, you left out.
Well, here's what I say to that. I say the next time we do this, dude, we'll keep these lists. Okay, we will keep these lists exactly as they are. We will save them. I will post them to our Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all that. Follow us on all those. I will make
Can you post them to my Instagram.
Yes.
It's called Jay's Butthole 5.
I will send them to your butthole. But no, I'll
Yeah.
post these lists. And what we will do is next time we have a live stream, we'll go, hey, we're going to add Hellraiser to the list. So we're going to take the entire franchise of Hellraiser and we're going to go back into the same list and we'll add them in as we go. And eventually what we'll have is we'll have this gigantic compendium of horror
So we'll have to do it again.
Yeah. And then we do Chucky, we do fucking.
But here's the thing about Chucky, and I know it's unpopular, dude. I know that Chucky belongs up in there. He won the Olympic gold. I get it. But at the same time, it's like he cheated. It's like a motherfucker that took steroids. He doesn't really belong, in my opinion, on the same stage as someone like Jason or Freddy or Michael or Leatherface or even Ghostface in that regard. I'm sorry. I don't like Child's Play. To me, Child's Play is literally that type of franchise that should have ended with the first one. I'm sorry. And I know it's not popular, but I mean, here's the thing. I don't like watching any Child's Play movie. I mean, I like Child's Play 2 and 3 are all right.
But they will have their place in this list though. When you get to the later
They
movies,
will, but I really don't want to do this again because this is already hard enough. But I mean, because Child's Play, Child's Play throwing that bitch in there, there's like fucking 25 movies of that. Like,
we gotta figure out.
And by the way, I'm just gonna point this out, and you guys understand this. Does Child's Play not strike you and smell like a dirty crack whore, like Puppet Master, right? Puppet Master just keeps pumping out the fucking movies. I like Puppet Master too because of the corniness of Puppet Master, right? Puppet Master, they pump. Dude, literally, the fucking franchise has made $10 million.
Yeah.
Okay? The franchise. No. Don't tell me that belongs up there with fucking Jason and Michael. You fucking take your shit back down the road and reevaluate your life because you're not telling me the truth.
There's a bunch of stuff you could do.
Leatherface, I'll give Leatherface a space.
Again, that's another one too. But here's the thing: like, I think the point is that this was fun as fuck. We're gonna do this again, but I feel like we have to tie it all together somehow. So I don't know how exactly that, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Fun, dude.
But tonight was
I
fucking
love
a
that we
blast.
came on. I love the fact that we came on different number ones, but our number twos were exactly the fucking same. It's like we almost both thought like, hey, we gotta throw Halloween 78 in there because otherwise the Dr. Loomis Michael Myers skit videos won't mean anything. By the way, that's not true. We both love Halloween, and honestly, I thought about putting 78 Halloween up there, but the reason why I stopped myself short,
I waffled.
I did. I wanted to do it, and then I'm like, nah, because the reason is I love Halloween 78. I think it's fucking great. I think it's phenomenal, and what they did with Halloween 78 was so great. John Carpenter, like, again, there's not a bad part in that movie. If you watch Halloween 78, there's really not a bad part. The beginning to the end is so well done, and it flows so well.
Yeah.
But the problem is, you look at Halloween 78, it's been done before. That mass, like that shit, Black Christmas, Psycho. I can go back. It's been done. Nightmare on Elm Street, other than the end, which, by the way, Wes Craven said was not his decision. Where you have that blow up doll that gets sucked through the window, which is fucking terrible. It's fucking terrible. Remember at the very end of the movie
Yeah.
When the mother is being sunk into the bed, and then she wakes up and it was all a dream, and then you see the
Yeah.
fucking mother like being. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Wes Craven said that was the producer wanting that because he thought
Yeah.
it'd be a sequel. Anyway, I just think that Halloween 78 is less because Nightmare on Elm Street at least was original. It was the newest thing you'd ever seen in your life.
We're crazy kids.
I
We're
love it. Dude,
wild,
I
crazy
love
kids.
this shit. I thought this was great.
I had a fucking blast, man. This was fun as fuck. I love you guys. Thank you guys for being cool about it, because like we're just being honest, we're being ourselves. So this is the best crowd to
Yeah.
fucking share that with. That's people are gonna be like a dick's like, I fucking hate you because you don't
Hey,
what
man.
I know about a fucking fictional character. You guys are awesome and you're the best. And
It's all
by the
opinions,
way,
man.
I'm gonna take these. I'm gonna put them in. I'm gonna put them in Letterboxd D list. I'm gonna post them. If you want to go back and look at our entire list, I'm gonna post them on all of our socials. So just follow us, Twitter, Instagram, all that at We Watch the Movie wherever you look.
And by the way, hey
go
guys,
into it.
if you guys would be so kind, on the comments below this video, put your list in. Put your
Yeah.
list in on the comments, because it would be really
Indeed.
cool to. Hey, look, we look at the comments, man. We really do. We check out the comments. Put your list in, because I mean we can't get to everybody here tonight. It'd be really cool if you guys put the comments in, and again, that does really help at the end of the day.
Why do people
So
keep saying cough, elbow, cough, cough? I don't understand what that means.
because you have a weird growth on your elbow,
What?
looks like a skin tag. It's nasty, dude.
God damn it!
It's so gross.
Fuck
No,
you.
I don't know. But yeah, hey guys, I had a fucking fantastical time.
So
and,
drunk.
and I love you guys, and
Mhm.
thank you guys for sharing your evening with us. And I gotta go because I have to go be drunk in a private room.
I gotta wake up.
I
with
gotta
the
go
kids
be
in like
drunk in a private room now.
3 hours.
Yeah, we've been doing this. Oh my god, this might be
Oh,
approaching the
shit.
record, because I
Oh,
don't
man.
think we've ever done a live stream for almost 4 hours.
I
Like,
know it's been a bit. It's been
Yeah.
a bit. Hey, but this was fun as fuck.
it was
so
worth it.
We're
It
gonna
was
do it.
worth it. Yeah.
We love you guys so fucking much. Hey,
Thank you guys.
see you guys next week with another live stream. We'll think of something cool. Probably not as cool as this, but come anyway.
Yeah, you guys can come all the time. We'll jack you
Come
off.
all on our mouths and
Yeah.
in and around it.
See you guys. We love you guys. Thank
Love
you guys.
you. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Get Wendy's.